a small snippet about his experience during the war. And him and some of his other soldiers in his group were bivouacked in a farmhouse. And when they were there, they heard this shot upstairs. And when they went up and checked, it was one of the soldiers in their group who just couldn't take the experience of war and committed suicide. And of course, they never told the family that. They just said he was a casualty of war. And so that's where the idea for this particular poem came. And I've recited it from the second to the First World War. And it's called His Fingers Slick with Whale Oil. His fingers, slick with whale oil, working sensitively through his Lee Enfield gun. He rubbed each part with tender care, smoothing the bolt, the spring, the breech, caressing the cocking piece, reaching with searching fingers along each intimate corner of his gun. At last, with quickening breath, he reached for each bullet one by one, as inside he slipped each deadly shell, then sat with quivering buttocks taunt. He propped it between his thighs and placed the barrel twixt gum and teeth. The safety catch sighed its release. His fingers tightened, and with a trembling thumb, he squeezed, and so his last breath was done. That's the first one. The second one is called Poppies, and again, it's about the First World War. Right, poppies. Poppies blazing red, ethereal, petals silken spread from hairy stems to hem each field and roadside gutter. Yet, once 100 years ago in Flanders fields, their petals echoed blood, not joy. Each head counted the lost and dead. Now, in remembrance, they are sold paper flowers to wear like wounds of blood on numerous chests, long after the dead have been laid to rest. Thank you. That's my two for the night.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Wonderful to see you back again. Okay. Front order has just been put on the screen for the next 6. So next up is Chris Begg.
Thanks, Vin. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here again. Okay, I thought I'd do 3 fairly short poems, 2 absolutely brand new, one just written today, and one from a while ago that I haven't read for quite a long time. So we'll do the one from a while ago. It's called When You Left Space. When you left, you took the important things, the together things. You took the books we read, the looks we made when we were pissed. You took the cats, you took the mat they sat on at night. You took the sight of your smile, the last thing that made us sing with delight as we kissed. Then this. But most of all, the things you took, your body, your hands, your face. Mostly, you took the space between the smiles, the spaces between the tears. It has left me full of fear for what's to come. To take your space away was wrong. Now your love, long gone, has left me this nothing space, which has taken me out of the race to be alive. All that's left in my place is dead space. Thank you. One of my favorite places to walk is an ancient forest, which is about half an hour from where I live, called Cluny Forest. It's on a hill, and at the top of the hill, there's ancient standing stones. So it's quite a wonderful place. I went there today, and today was in the northeast of Scotland, was really stormy. So this is, I don't often write romantic poetry, but this is a little bit of a romantic piece. Feeling your breath tangle through my long hair, my eyes filled with the auburns and russets of yours blown in the air. I move into you, closer through, as your cold fingers touch me in places touched last by you. The passion of your storms grows as deeper and deeper I move into the heart of you, feeling your beat, your natural groove. Through birch, pine, and larch, the wild wind forces me to rest in the arms of the place I love to walk, the ancient Cluny Forest. Thank you. And last one. This is a little thing that happened the other day in a shop. So I went into a shop, I was about to go out and something happened. This is a little poem just about that. Jack, she said, let the old man pass. I looked behind me to see the old man and realized the old man is me. Me? I smiled. Her eyes nodded. See, I said, I'm young in my head, I said, leaning on my stick to keep my balance. Sorry, mister. Mom, is it awful getting old? I tightened my scarf, braced myself for the cold. The store door opened and through it I saw young me playing rugby, running in the sand, you and me laughing, kissing, loving in the rain, Bois de Boulogne camping and loving again. The protests we marched, the countries we toured, 3 children we brought up to the sounds of laughter and love. But now, as I nurse this dreadful pain in my back, is it true? Am I really too old to read Kerouac? Okay, thank you very much, folks. That's my 3. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that feeling. Yep, I know that. Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Next up on the list is next month's feature poet, Generalissimo Brian Franco.
Me? Oh, I didn't think I was this early. Okay. Let's see what I have up here. I might have something for you. Let's see what I have.
I can come back if you're not ready.
No. You know what? Here. So this, how long do I have? What's my time limit there?
Well, 5 minutes ish. It's always ish here, you know that.
So this is called When I Was Convicted for Murdering a Horse, well, sort of. It was supposed to be an uneventful Saturday. The parents were out of town. I was sleeping late. My brother Paul grabbed my shoulder with his grimy hands. He had worked delivering for Gardberg's furniture for a year and a half and earned enough for a black 1965 and a half Ford Mustang. He was in the garage almost every Saturday with Philip Feivelman, who was a car genius. They weren't social friends outside of working on the car, but Philip loved cars and Paul was paying for everything, including pizza for lunch. Paul jostled me awake. I had to drive to the Napa Auto Parts store just off Spring Hill Boulevard to get a part. Take Alan's car, he'd want you to. Alan was away at college and had been denied taking his car till he had a certain GPA to please my parents. He already missed out having a car for 2 semesters. I told Paul no, I wasn't allowed to drive Alan's car, neither was Paul. I wanted Paul to be nicer to me though, but this was dangerous. I was a nervous driver. Napa would be a 20 to 30 minute drive. I drove straight down Old Shell Road to Tut Hill Lane, then right on Spring Hill Avenue, and another 5 minutes. I got to the Napa. I bought the part and was driving back. When I turned left onto Tut Hill, it happened. Alan's red 1978 Mustang was facing at a strange angle towards St. Ignatius Church. I was knocked unconscious for a short period. A nun went to the car and helped me to the curb. I was dizzy and in shock. The nun held one of my hands between two of hers. I had no memory of what happened. I looked at Alan's totaled prized possession. There was a radiating crack on the windshield. The sun was glaring. The red paint reflected into the crack. At that moment, I started touching the top of my head, crazily yelling, "Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding? Am I bleeding?" over and over and over again. The nun tried to calm me, but couldn't, so she slapped me. And I calmed down. I started to breathe easier. A paramedic asked me if I wanted anything from the car. She held my arm as we walked to it. I grabbed the bag with Paul's auto part. I asked the paramedic where the rearview mirror was. She found it in the back seat. We discovered I wasn't wearing a seatbelt when it happened. In the ambulance, the paramedic told me I was lucky I didn't fly through the windshield. Paul got his auto part. I still have no memory of what happened. Almost 40 years later, Alan winces at the mention of his red 1978 Mustang and has yet to forgive me for crashing his car. I'm going to go ahead and do a piece from my new book that just went to print and should be ready to go within 2 weeks. It's called The Coverman Cometh. I am a champion cyclist, not bicycles, emotions. I do it all, ups, downs, inside, outs, round and rounds, hills, valleys, twists, turns, loop-de-loops, and half pipes. I actually bore a hole through a solid granite mountain to create a shortcut I used only once. Yes, I am a champion cyclist. My face has been on the cover of Psychology Today thrice for the 3 times I have won the Tour de France by simply riding out anxieties. And I'll do I have another short piece to do? Yes, I'll do this other piece in my book called Distression. I feel distressed, or is it stressed? Maybe I'm distressed because I'm stressed and possibly depressed, but I've been so depressed so much sometimes I'm oblivious to the fact that I'm depressed, which is distressing and quite stressing, and inevitably depressing, which I can only qualify as stressful and distressful and a little too full of anything I want anyway. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brian. Your sound was a bit funny to start with, a bit of echo, but it cleared up after a few lines.
I just want to say I'm certainly looking forward to our wonderful feature today, Mr. Michael Sindler, who happens to be part of the poetic troupe, Hero Bards of the Bardo, which includes myself, him, and Deans. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
So on the 12th, me and Dane are featuring at Pick and Zoom, hosted by Gary Husson. I'll put everything in the chat. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Where's my list? It's all scored out and written in. All right. Next up, welcome back. She's ready, Lily.
Hi. Yeah, it's really nice to be at a poetry event. I haven't done one since starting uni. So yeah, it's just nice to be here. So hi everyone. So I've got 2 poems tonight. One I wrote a little while ago, and then one's a bit more recent. So this first one doesn't have a title, but it was inspired by the Dead Poets Society, if anyone's seen the film. So yeah, here it goes anyway. Why does art have to be beautiful and all flowers smell like roses? The sky be a perfect blue when it decides on feeling wet. Leaves wisp across our streets in colours other than green. They know what it is to be living. Grass green turns its head, laughs at the faithful waters, while the dead scrambles for one easy drop of compassion. But we hate it. We rip it away and strip it of any hopes, dreams, our simple human feelings that could change a world and make another. But the grass is dead. Perhaps the birds that totter on our windowsills and mock our calls see the wrongs of our yeses and our nos, the necessary perfection of our sentences, the heedless harmony of our songs. I say goodbye to this rigid world in which we must please our peers to have love. The world where we take the same path as the other because it is what we know to do. I follow my heart, my soul, my everything in all I do. I have to, because it is what brings me closer to peace. Thank you. This second one is called Holy People. At first, he looked like an angel. Shadow light lit the musty fog behind his eyes, around the dense slenderness of his fingers, as if his power was that of the wind. It felt as though I was enwrapped on instant, carried into a rosy dream I didn't believe could exist. I am so grateful that it does. Raw happiness is such a precious thing. It dissolves and dissipates, diffuses through the common soul in fleeting glances, which leave a blankness on humanity. Stars, the shooting stars of Rome, and the sandy beaches of the pebble children stutter when he draws near. He appeared so delicate yet powerful, a god in the realm of man, his hair like silk and the skin that would shine in the moon. Beauty is a funny thing, how it plays with your heart in its conscious state, a fiction so deep as to cleanse the soul of its every distress. He mingles with the pages of my favorite books, plucks the arrows from a harp and lets it play its sweet music. At first, he looks like an angel, but in all, he is a man. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you very much indeed. You've been enjoying university life, I take it already, yeah? Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Next up, we have Laura.
Okay, thank you, Fen. I'm going to read a piece, a new piece called Border Crossing, and this is a bilingual piece in German and English. And just to let you know, the line, "My neck is thinner than a hair," is from an art exhibit by the Atlas Group at the Modern Art Museum in Vienna. Border Crossing. The potato harvest is over. We're on the falling leaf of life. We've smoothed the earth's surface on our small, small patch. Our child has crossed the line. Our child has crossed over. Fühlst du dich schwach? Do you feel weak? My neck is thinner than a hair. Walk across the border. Lauf über meine Grenze. Überschreite deine Grenze. Geh durch. Go through this car bomb, this tomb, where blackened metal pieces schweigen. Men stand over, watch the pieces. Men stand, men stare in those creases. Cross this border, this neck, kreuzt den Hals, cut from body borders. Car bomb as border, on board in Lebanon. Do you see their pieces? Siehst du Stücke da und dort? Siehst du Menschenstücke nah und da? Dein Blut und Lamm. Schwärzende Grenzen über die Flut, schwarze Menschen voll von Wut. Blood and lamb of black and white. Hand floats over watered land. Foot floats under, back and man. Grenze einsam calling man. Lonely border crossing man. Border crossers fly in sky. Border crossers crawl in sly. We crossed here and there and nigh, from the east and from the south, with necks thinner than a hair, sometimes legal, sometimes hot. Steinzeitmann, gib Antwort mir, gib mir Antwort, Steinzeit jetzt. My stone-aged man, give answers, dare. Carve rock from hair, carve tooth from bear. Children come and children go. Kinder kommen, Kinder gehen. Kinderlein, mein Blut und Lamm, Kinder mein, sehr klug und bunt. Nimm dein Speer, komm aus dem Leer. Steinzeitmann von nah und fern, großes Tal aus Rift und Kern, rennt für Korn und schleicht für Beeren. Steinzeitmann in Lebanon, Steinzeitmann in Berlins Not, Steinzeitmann in Palestine. They shot the man from Poland, they shot the man from Germany, they broke my feet, they tore my tongue, on this line they took my spine. O Steinzeitmann, paint your mind, my man of stone, paint the new cave, Steinzeitmann, make your sign, cross the line, draw and bind. Draw dancing lives and singing lands, bodies bound with seizing hands. Hold this neck while I walk through. The stepping stones do slip and slay, the water deep with drones and moans. Live in two tribes. Leben zwei Banden, Steinzeitmann. Gib mir Antwort, Steinzeit kann. Give me answer, tongue on hinge. Stone-aged man hunts for his kin. Sirhan hunts for Ruth. Can we ever know the truth? Run with me through land and border. Take this neck and hold your tooth. Flüstern jetzt, bringt uns weiter. Whisper takes us through. Cross this line, mach den Plan, mit Blut und Lamm. Ruhe, Ruhe, bleib im Nest. Rest yourself on rock and shelf. Nimm die Antwort, Kinder mine. Carry far across distant times. Cross this rhyme, mein Blut und Lamm, my son. Oh, mein Sohn, bist du durstig, bist du krank? Are you thirsty? Are you sick? Carry far along this bank. Nimm deine Tarnung, nimm deine Stärke. My stone-aged man, give answers, dare. Expedite from self-deceit. Überschreite deine Grenze, überschreite deine, überschreite. Thank you.
I mute myself. Thank you very much, Laura. That was brilliant. I used to be able to speak German, so I was trying to pick up bits of that, but it's been about 40 years since I have, so not much. Thank you. We love hearing poems, and it's not in English on this place anyway. You still get the feel of them, even though you don't always understand them, I think. All right, next up, Sylvia. It's disappeared, has she? Oh, there you go. Sylvia, you ready to go?
Okay, Sylvia here. Love me not. This is a poetry artwork inspired by young love. I'm yearning for your love. You are not reciprocating. My teardrop was hurting from my chest. I wish I could make love to me till I asked for more. Yesterday, the words were pouring out. It sounds so soothing hearing my words. I leapt for joy that love was found. No words could describe the joy inside out. It's oozing out, touching my soul. Where were you when I needed you the most? Do you love me? Do you love me not? Will you run to my chest and hold me tight? My heart was pounding, your breath so strong. You ran your finger through my body, I quiver for more. Next is also a poem inspired by young love. It's called Will You Stay a Little Longer? Are you feeling lonesome? I tell you how I care for you. Search your heart. I'm still your friend. I run through the mobile phone, pick up the courage to say hello to you. Your warmth in my voice ignite my heart, make me feel happy. How can I say I love you? How can I say I care for you? Will you stay a little longer? It brings comfort to my soul. It's raining. The fire in my heart keeps linger. Will you stay a little longer? Will you let me in your heart? I love to hold you, your hands, and make you closer. That's all. So thanks for having me, everyone.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you once more. Thank you very much indeed for joining
Thank
us
you.
so late at night with your time or early in the morning, whatever it is just now. Thank you. Okay, closer to home now, fresh from his success at Alive, Away with Words and Hull, and selling more books and CDs and stuff. Richard Harris.
Hello. I was just on Zoom to them. In fact, I was very silly away with words. I was a cackling witch, and I'm changing that tone for tonight. And I've got to say flash words because all of mine are upsetting and involve death and things like that. But I felt they went together. I was asked to do a quiz about Withernsea and looked into the history and came across this incredibly sad case. And it's the sad tale of Kate Leese, murdered in Withernsea in 1908. It wasn't fair. I didn't deserve it. No one deserves this violent death. I was 21, wanted to be a wife, a mother, a grandma even. I was pretty, that was not my fault. Why that haunts me still. I know he liked me, fancied me, but I was a barmaid, I flirted. That was my job. Many like me chatted, smiled, followed me. This one, Charles Good from Hull, was always there. Walked up Hull Road, stopped by the lighthouse. He followed me, caught up with me there. I told him to go, told him to stop. He went away. I relaxed, felt safe. I met a friend. We walked to the beach, sat on a bench, talked, smiled, laughed. A pleasant afternoon. The music of the Pierrots wafting along, happy folk walking, talking and laughing. A sunny afternoon by the sea. Then my friend left. I sat there relaxing and Good came back, put his arm around me. I felt fear, then a flash of a sharp silver knife. The cut of the knife, a gush of blood, and I was gone. He left me there. I didn't deserve it. No one deserves this. I wish they had hung him, so he could never do this again. Why, oh why, me? Remember me, Kate Lease. And it's been turned into a song by a friend of mine, and she sang it virtually at the murder site at a festival we were doing in summer, and I had every hair on my body standing up. It was just amazing. And then I've got two new ones. They're both quite short. A sad death. She was alone at home as usual. She was drunk, very drunk as usual, in another country, on another continent, away from her family. Her husband had left her but returned to feed her, as she would only drink. He returned as usual, found the house broken into. She lay on the floor, head bleeding, unconscious. She'd been hit hard, very hard, fallen, hit her head on the fire fender. Ambulance called. She remained alive for a few days, never conscious. Her family could not get there in time, South Africa being far away. Some called it a murder. Some called it an accident during a break-in. The police did nothing much, it seemed. She was only 49, my sister. And that one's been a long time writing, a very long time being brave enough to write it. And this one is about a friend who's just passed, and it's actually based on his language in his emails to me. Unbearable life. I don't have Alzheimer's. I wish I did most of the time. Then I wouldn't know exactly what's happening to me like I do. I was active and fit, went to the gym, dug out the foundations to my house extension on my own with a spade and a trenching tool. Never smoked, did not drink to excess. Yet when I retired, I got a visitor, not a kind visitor, called Mr. Parkinson. He reduces my life quality over long years, makes me feeble. I mowed the lawn still, but had to sit on the lawnmower. I struggled on, could not walk more than a few paces. I fought. Then when I thought things were unbearable, I had a stroke. I am slim, I'm not overweight. Why me? Now things start to get truly unbearable. My beautiful, healthy wife, my carer, my support, fell ill, went to the GP. He looked worried, referred her on. Pancreatic cancer, untreatable. 6 weeks later, she was dead. One of my kids moved in. I'm lucky I have kids, caring kids. Then I moved in with my daughter, moved to a remote part of Scotland. Now I sit here, my mind active, able to go on the computer but not to stand. Often need to be spoon-fed because of the tremors, but able still to wipe my own arse. For now. I am miserable. I miss my wife. We were together from our late teens. I miss her so much. I daydream, I make wishes. I long to be taken in the coldest of winter and laid only in my underpants on the banks of a cold, cold loch and be allowed to drift slowly, peacefully away, Mother Nature doing her work. I rail at the world and I think that if assisted dying was allowed, I would be at the front of the queue. I had a great life, such fun, travelled, had love and deaths, love and kids. I am not afraid of death. In fact, welcoming it. Now it is time to go. And I only wrote that the other day and I haven't performed it at all, and it was difficult. But thank you.
Oh, thank you, Richard. That was real heartbreaking stuff. That was touches home because I've just lost a couple of friends this past couple of weeks as well. Well, one close and one friend of my daughter's. So thank you for that. Thank you. All right. Follow that then. Sorry, John.
Yes, thank you, Finn. Unfortunately, fortunately, I have something at 4 o'clock our time, and I won't be here to hear everyone. I hope to hear Michael. And I put invitations in the chat. Thursday is Veterans Day in the United States, and I'll be reading a bunch from the book called World War II, Baby, and Other Poems. I'm going to read just a couple from that now. World War II, Baby. When I was very young, we were at war. The Germans and the Japs were the bad people we hated and killed. The Russians were our allies that lost more people than we did. The US lost 405,399 people in World War II. I had an uncle come back from the Pacific with malaria, the Agent Orange of World War II. It took 7 years to kill him. Now the Japs are Japanese, and they and the Germans are our allies, and the Russians are the bad guys, while we were at war undeclared with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and terrorists. In fact, we have been at war hot and cold, always undeclared, at times through surrogates, almost every year since I was born, against communists, imperialists, fascists, terrorists, extremists, in fact, just about any list you can think of. And we have lost Korea, 35,516, Vietnam, 58,209, Gulf War, 294, Afghanistan, 2,216, Iraq, 4,497. Additionally, there have been, they are only the wars that we know about. There's also, and I have a whole list that goes on from Bay of Pigs, Cuban Missile Crisis, and all, and I won't read it all here. Worn out? I am. Since 1775, the United States has lost 1,354,664, of which 507,989 are in my lifetime. When will we and the rest of the world ever learn? Probably not while I live, but a shame. That's the first. I lit Gordon McCrae cigarette. I was standing at the bar in a restaurant in Shea Stadium after a World Series game in 1969. I lit a cigarette. You could smoke in bars then, as I tried to figure out why no money was changing hands over the bar. Just then, the fellow next to me asked for a light, and as I turned to light his cigarette, I realized it was Gordon McCrae who had sung the national anthem before the game. Over Gordon's head, I saw Joe DiMaggio talking to Earl Warren. They entered the bar. Then I realized that I was not in the public restaurant. It turned out I was in the private club of the owner of the Mets, so I stayed. But I did not want to sound like just a fan, so I did not tell Gordon how much I liked him in the movie version of Oklahoma. I also did not tell him how I despised the state of Oklahoma, having spent 5 long years there between January 1962 and April 1962 while in the Army. It was only 4 months. It felt like 5 years. Lawton was the 3rd largest city in the state and had no industry other than Fort Sill while I was there. It had bars, many private clubs, hotels, clip joints, girls, anything that could separate the GI from his meager wages. It was a divided city with a Mexican section, Indian section, the black section, the white section, the white real people section. And for the first time, this New Yorker saw institutionalized segregation and bigotry. About 25 years later, I met a woman from Lawton and told of Black members of my unit being refused service in a bar where I was. I left with them. I then said, I'm sure things have changed in the last 25 years. And she responded, not so much. But I told Gordon none of this. I just lit his cigarette. And I'll skip to one. Wilson got a bad rap. Woodrow Wilson is often associated with a reference to World War I as the war to end wars. Actually, it was H.G. Wells who first used the phrase. Wilson only used the term once. The war was called by many the Great War. 19 million of which 116,000 the U.S. military died in this Great War. British politician David Lloyd George supposedly said, "This war, like the next war, is a war to end war." Whoever said it was the war to end war, it wasn't. Thank you for putting up with me.
Thank you, John. Thank you. That first one especially reminded me of a paradoxian I put on the other day, that war doesn't decide who's right, only who's left. And that kind of sums up the shit about it. It's a racket. Thank you. Sorry, I've just been announced that my son's partner has just gone into labour. So our fifth great granddaughter's son got to be born in an hour soon. So I'm a bit thrown there. And they stay in the village. So it's a great grandkid I'll actually see for a change. Right, moving on now. Natalie, sorry about that, Natalie.
Yeah, that's all right. Congratulations, Finn. That's great news. Always good to hear about little babies being born into the world. Yes, I'm gonna try an experiment tonight. I've got a spot later this week in a Finnish like it's called Poetry Week in Turku, which is like the sorry, I'm mixing languages now. It's a huvudstad, the head, like the capital city of the southwest region. So this is a piece that's inspired by Red Sky Sessions, which I took some workshops of, and this piece sort of runs like a dictionary entry, but I'm not going to tell you what the word is. It's a noun of female substance, adult, made from feminine pixie dust, knowledge adapting in bursts from within this box I don't fit in. A balance so careful, my empathy pushes the boundaries of my own imbalance, and I fall. Sometimes I crumble, but my silence is humble. I listen, hearing cries from my ancestors rising from a place beyond my walls, beyond the pain of my daughter's calls. Adjective, infinite waves. Infinite ways, curves like the ocean's waves, having qualities traditionally as beauty, gentleness, humility, positivity, strong as an ox, kind like the fox's mother. But what about the human being who stands up and says, stop? The quality in which character builds her to shout out in anger, I was wronged. Fluid skirts and feminine knits only work with delicate legs and honey-like skin, but mine is cut by the thorns of hate and discriminate by the lowly lovers breaking bread with brothers. Verb, to staff with female labour, to make effeminate, transitive. To find a preparedness to provide own life in exchange for unconditional love in return for own said life, to exist, to give in and of herself with exchange of love which can only be described as unconditional, to give all and of herself in an undisclosed understanding of love, to sacrifice life, for love to sacrifice life, love. See also femme, fair sex, lady, woman up, and girl. This next piece is written in a similar style, but it went off on its own tangent. So it's not as long, but it might be trigger warnings for, I don't know, misogyny, let's say. Sexual gratification of a child, perhaps. Yeah. Noun. A female child from birth to adulthood. A person whose gender identity is female in childhood. Daughter, younger sister, younger sister, señorita, mademoiselle, amie, cousine, venina, toute, damsel, demoiselle, maid, maiden, miss, spoiled child, sweet little thing. Is this your little one? A young woman, naive, doesn't know any better. You can't fool her. Wearing an oversized sweater, socks pulled up to her knees, white frills, crop top. Aren't you flexible? Want a lolly, little one? Sometimes offensive, a single or married woman of any age, a female romantic partner, a female friend, dated and often offensive, a female servant or employee. Hey, you want to slap it or shake it? Used as a friendly way of addressing a woman. You need to give yourself some credit. Native to a given place, she was a local, the one next door, the one who got away, ball and chain, chained to the kitchen sink, rebellious, loud, uncouth, nasty bitch, a female domesticated animal and especially a pet. Gossip, thinner, harrying, heavy, thick-ankled, parasite, bleeder, emotional, unbalanced, witch burner, a date, a root, a fuck, fucked, slut, fucking slut. Synonym, girl. And that's where I'll end it tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was wonderful. That we loved that. Okay, we've got one more, and then we're going to go straight into our feature spot tonight. Get them early so the early people can't stay, can catch it too. So next up, Catalina. Thank you.
I've got one poem that I wrote and last night, actually. I've been writing more on my sci-fi novel that's been progressing pretty well, but haven't been writing or reading at all much over the last weeks because I'm moving flat. I'm moving on the 15th, so it's being a little bit of a roller coaster. I'm commuting, I'm doing a long commute to work now. It's kind of over 2 hours every day, and that's why I'm pretty tired, so I might just drop out of today's meeting a bit earlier, and I apologize for that. But I will read this poem that just flooded in last night. There we are. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Just a second. There we are. Okay. Break the pledge. What if I break that future pledge? I start again. What if I break that future life pledge to greet the absence of time, freedom beyond love, beyond happiness, not in frozen eternity, nor in the perishable quality of little joys, but in lack of necessity to measure steps from bed to sink, fresh toast recess before dry lips meet the clamor of choppy mornings. What if I never returned to aching heart, as drawn inside my thigh with wet fingertips? These bedsheets borrow, weathered by the long death of humanity, will sing for absolution until only a hum remains in a hollow. We have never outlived our dreams. In anticipation, the smell of fried cabbage and gammon triggers another loop in the past, present, and future, when all of this has happened before, but will it ever happen again? The cold sweetness of absence, ice cream drilling through the brain, pistachio on the tip. I'll claim entrance into another flat. I'll make it my friend, with a bright pink sofa pulsating like a heart in its chest. Toes and fingers numbed down in anticipation, eyelids have mastered the ocean within. What if I am not coming back for the art? What if I am not coming back to the arch of your ribs where blood flow turns into sound? Instead, my body of hurtling fire and ice cuts through the imponderable vastness of space. A breath that rushes through itself, tunnel inside tunnel inside tunnel. I'm reborn as far from the softness of expectation as a black hole from a butterfly wing. I won't break my pledge. Instead, I burst headlong through invisible threads, transgress beyond the meaning of salvation, self-actualize into perpetual speed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's noted in the thing. That's a hell of a long commute, like 2 hours. That's a long one. Wow. 45 minutes is bad enough for me, but 2 hours now. Thank you. All right. We can sit back now and relax. And Paul, we welcome to the screen long-time blotter, wonderful poet. Please welcome Michael Sindler.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it is always wonderful just to be part of this great global community of poets and listen to all the amazing stuff like what we've just heard and what we're going to hear afterwards. There are still so many wonderful people on the list after this. And some of you will have heard some or most or all of what I'm about to do, but hopefully this will be somewhat enjoyable at any rate. And this is as big as I can make the pictures on the screen. And this first piece is called Gardener of Joy, in memory of Paul McGinnis. Don't dwell in the past or rush towards the future. This is the best time. Settle into the moment without an expectation. Now you can begin. Close your eyes. Now feel your breath. Find your place of peace. Strive for authenticity. Act only with compassion. Others may throw stones. Use them to build a garden. Make it inviting for weary souls to enter and set aside their burdens. Life gives you a choice. Will your hand be extended or closed in a fist? To know love is to be love. To be love is our purpose. Hatred begets pain in ourselves and in others. Wasted energy to hurt instead of nurture. Be a gardener of joy. And this next piece is called Mango. Children weave their way through the kitchen, around table legs and cook's knees, hovering over basket, pressing firm skins, finding the ripest mangoes, holding their finds up, chef knives slice sideways around teardrop lozenge pits, pull apart halves, one side pulpily clinging to seed, the other freeze easier to cut, blades striping checkerboard, puffed out fruit pops up into firm, spongy cubes, juice drips from smiles over chins, sweet as heaven, finest of fresh fruits. Wet hand towel wipes fingers and faces, squirming, squealing cherubim dart for door into sunshine, roll down green grass hill into bed of chrysanthemums, pick handfuls of mango-colored blossoms, gather treasure into plastic bucket, beg for needle and thread, concentration and comedy as flower by flower, long strands are strung, tied into delicate garlands, fragrant as the garden. Racing back to kitchen, tugging on pants legs, staff bow and curtsy. Gifts of earth and toil, tiny artisans' creations tugged over heads, having adorned adored adults, a laughing flash, dash back out the door, racing across field. Black and mango-hued monarchs, fritillaries, and painted ladies flutter step in aerial pirouettes. As dinner bell rings, feet turn, fleet flight towards tent, feast laid out resplendent in thick, tall metal vessels, staff serve from long table, hurried repetition of ablutions, clean hands hold plates overhead, giggling lips, beaming grins, rice, dal, and sabji ladled, juices combine and congeal, running over roti bread. Best of all desserts in bowl, mango matcha pudding sprinkled with pistachio. Bellies full with treats, sweet day turns dark. Recline onto cushions, soon sleep shuts lids. Beloved kids, scooped up, carried gently to bed. And this next one is called Smaller Cousin for Joy Harjo. Joy tells me I am the smaller cousin of the sun. I burst with heat. I warm the world with rhythmic beat. I wither away your lengthening shadows that thin into harmless reflection. I am the smaller cousin. I stand close. You can feel me deep in your chest as we embrace, skin of your drum vibrating in harmony. We are an expanding, dancing circle. I am the smaller cousin of the sun. I rise, fall, and rise again. You can count on my return. Every moment apart brings me closer once again. I dry your tears with my breath and wait among the clouds, watching as pure rain washes you clean. I am the cousin of the sun, caressing the curve of the earth, reflecting poetry against the mirror of the moon. Even when you do not see me, I send my message of love from the silvered surface, scythe to circle and rotation. I am the smaller cousin of the sun. I am the brother, sister to your heart. I am the same pounding sound of life and love, the same struggling, triumphant pump, fist-sized and world-encompassing. We are the smaller cousins of the sun, our warmth nurturing each other, reaching out our rays, braiding light into threads, a sheet of pure love to lay across the land and sky. And this one is called Aria, and the epigraph, I'm talking to the part of you that never speaks. Laurie Anderson. Every object on this planet speaks to us, reflecting back vibrations from each sound they encounter, embedded in the rustling and flickering or songs and voices, great rumblings and whispers, caught but not collected, each moment's movement a new exposition. Even the crumpled bag of chips, its surface quivering like a pond's skin, repeats the stories with a plastic tongue. Deeper yet, all aspects of being, every subatomic particle rings and hums together, the true harmony through which the universe speaks to itself, to us and to all else, leaving no doubt as to our oneness. What cannot be heard can be felt in silence. The finger hovering over the plucked string, tickled by rhythmic radiation. Every atom is ear and tongue, scribe and subscriber, every substance dancing to cycling series of rising, interconnected, incremental tones, blasting from the black mouth of the Big Bang. All notes and sounds, every chanted word and thought, an echo of primordial exhalation. Every nerve and tissue, every growing cell, every crystalline formation speaks to all, listens to all, sings an open-ended aria of unity. And this is called Tides. The moon is a puffed face, craggy surface, pocked with gray acne scars. It frowns at the earth, not knowing its own beauty, not knowing lovers see only its shining silver surface, pushed by its gravity into embraces, faces flushed pink, suspended in close orbit around synchronous hearts. The moon looks down, jealous of lovers, longing to kiss the earth, showing its better half, shrouding the other. Holding back, it pulls with its want, tides of planetary desire. And this one is a haiku sonnet. I am doing a lot less form poetry than usual in this, but I got a few. This is called Before the War for C.R. Milne. He frowned and told me, we're all Eeyores on this bus as we rolled downhill. Don't even look back. The wood is a memory from before the war. A pig and a bear, sound asleep, softly snoring, cradled their bags, empty honey jar as loud as a heffalump thumping down the aisle. Isn't it a crime that we must grow old before the best of the stories are told? And this is Views with Light. Do not be afraid. Life will grow in filth. Life will stretch fresh branches out, clothe itself in leaves. Do not be afraid. Life will burst from shadows into sweet petals, draw grace from muck, transform waste into wonder. Do not be afraid. Drop seeds are not lost. Barren fields give way to forests. Mists fuse with light. Do not be afraid. And this one is Hope is. Hope is to be longed for, dreamed of, a vigil set to await its coming. Hope is to be searched for, to mount exploratory voyages for, following each clue and bent twig of evidence. Hope is to be fought for, defended against despair, stinging needles of falling hail, hate's dull axe pounding against the door. Hope is to be celebrated even before its coming, halls strewn with petals for its bare feet to walk on. Hope is to be caressed, the most gentle grasp that does not crush, two forms holding up the other in silent reverence. Hope is to be free to come and go, knowing the cold days apart will lead to a reunion. Hope is the most welcome guest, the most adored spouse. Hope cannot be bound, will come to you in its own time and on its own terms. Hope will not give or accept a ring or token, will not be a slave to any spoken incantation, whether following in its tracks or opening your gates and windows to allow it entrance. Hope may be elusive, but it's no illusion. Its one kiss will exceed any elixir. Its breath, the silent song that makes survival possible. Hope is a trickster that steps out from the shadow, letting you know it has been here all along when you thought it was lost or torn away. Hope laughs in sympathy, never with disdain, a joyous trill to pull lips into a smile. Hope sleeps soundly and soundlessly, but awakes to find you and teach you new songs. And this one is for someone who will always be in my heart. It's called Willow. You seem to me like willow trees, ever bending but not breaking, dancing in time with the breeze. You seem to me like willow trees, firmly grounded, yet so at ease, so delicately embracing. You seem to me like willow trees, ever bending, but not breaking. And this one is Handful. This handful of soil holds the history of the earth. Mountains that rose from lava, shot up out of magma and met their match. Dental drops and curling rivulets, wearing away crystals borne by wind across expansive terrain. Rough ridge guardian range surrounding new formed seas. Blue depths which first green grew, advancing onto land to thrust down roots, cracking fine fissures, burrowing up soil into blankets, adding its dead black composting remains. With each successive season, nutrient-drenched sod grows richer, more complex forms spiraling, progression out of DNA helixes. First cells of life appear and see, amoeba after amoeba split, burst into billions, each clone of original organism, coexist, combine, evolve into multicellular manifestations, germ to virus to mold to blossoming vegetative mutations, ride waves or fly or crawl to land, phylum, ordo, and familia expand, amphibian, reptilian, mammalian, carbon footprints left turn to fossil as they decompose, becoming fodder for new growth. Seeds sailing on zephyr or excreted by migrating beast invades, revises ecosystem. Loam and dust mix into mud, grab flecks of fractile mineral, slide and flex between cracks over and under rock and rubble. Flake that was once skin and bone and branch flies across continents, rides over waves, mixes over aeons. No land abide that does not speak of other scapes, grove, jungle, desert, plain. In all is mixed. In all remains. Scoop up shallow clump of soil in your hand. You hold it all. The planet, the very stars, the original power that made it manifest. Gaze in wonder of interconnectedness. Did a triceratops turn into that leaf? Did Achilles' sandal skid across the stone from whence that speck of dust journeyed to arrive in your palm at this moment of exploration? Feel the weight of history in your hand, then toss the dirt high. Let the wind carry it. Let it fall back into new formations. Let history become the future. Let the future become history, handful by handful. And this is another triolet, sort of for the same person. Farewell to Earth. With every mile, I miss you more. This face I will not see again. You contain all that I adore. Your liquid face, your molten core. With every mile, I miss you more. Within my heart, I feel you spin. With every mile, I miss you more. This face I will not see again. And I'm gonna leave y'all with a haiku called Coyotes. We're all coyotes in thin air beyond the cliff. Try not to look down. Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, hey.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow, Michael.
That was amazing.
Beautiful, Michael. Beautiful.
Wonderful. Whoa.
Great images and words throughout.
Yeah.
It was masterful
That was
reading, and also very sublime, very moving.
What an ending. What an ending.
Yeah, that was a great end, wasn't it? Just, oh, that was fabulous. Familiar to all as well. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Michael, for sharing that.
Thank you, Michael.
One more round of applause for that.
Cheers.
It's funny, I was just thinking the other day when Michael came on, he said, you'll have heard all these before. It's a thing with poets that we always want to hear something new, and yet you go and see a band or a musician, you want to hear the greatest hits, so you want to hear the ones you're familiar with. So I like that. Thank you.
Oh, just amazing.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break now. Just a little one since we're early. I'll take a 5-minute break, and I'll put the next bit of the running order in the chat. Well, I nip downstairs and see what's happening in the maternity front. Thank you.
Yeah, Michael, way to go.
It was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. I'm really sorry that I can't stay for the rest. Once I moved into my new flat, it's going to be 10 minutes from my work, and it will be a lot easier for me to attend a lot more events, because it's like right now it's...
So Catalina, you're writing a science fiction story. What is it about?
I'm writing a trilogy. Oof. It's I don't know if it's probably my microphone or whatever. I'm writing a trilogy. Had the idea a few years ago. It plays a little bit with the idea of reality and what is reality and what is not. And it makes sense as a trilogy because the first part is what it seems. The second part is like, wow, actually, this is what's happening. And the third part is the conclusion. Is what's next, kind of. Yeah.
Does it deal with alternate universes in any way, or is it just alternate realities?
Alternate realities.
Ah.
Yeah, and it is post-apocalyptic, and there will be a lesson learned, but the people who help everybody learn it will be messed up, basically, as it does happen. Yeah, cool. But yeah, it's the biggest difficulty I've got in talking about my first novel that I hope to finish by January or in January is you know, it's going to, its impact is going to be depending on the big reveal at the end. So if I tell people about that before they read it, it might lose the appeal to read it. So that's it. That's why I've learned how to talk about it without actually spoiling it.
It's kind of the way that I watch films and the way that I read. When I read the Isaac Asimov, I've finished almost all of his major novels. Maybe I've gotten all of them, but I think there's one more that he co-wrote with Robert Silverberg besides Nightfall that I need to find. But I basically read all of them without looking at the flap.
No,
in other words, I want to see exactly where they're going to take me, and that's the way I approach novels.
Absolutely, and you have different genres. So if you read history, historical drama, and you have well-known characters, you will know and expect things about them. But my best example from what I've read so far in sci-fi, and I still have a lot to read, but my best example is Ian M. Banks' Use of Weapons. And that's the one. I don't know if I can deliver that much of a blow, because that's such an experimental book, while at the same time, the action in it makes sense, even if it's so experimental. But yeah, that is my kind of my top model.
Well, one of the what's the name of that book?
Use of Weapons.
Oh, because I was going to say the king of experimental novels for me, well, besides William Burroughs and his work, like especially the Naked Lunch, Soft Machine, and I guess Nova Express trilogy, and I haven't read Nova Express yet, but read the other two, is Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce.
Yeah, it's not so what I'm writing is not experimental, but Use of Weapons is written backwards. So there are two timelines. And the chapters intertwine. I mean, you know the book. You've read it.
No, I haven't read it, but I was just when you said that, I related it to James Joyce because Finnegan's Wake is written in the form of a circle.
Yeah. Anyway, it's so good, and you have such a reveal about a character there that really comes like not a blow, not a punch to the face, but it's like a pillar hitting you.
Oh wow.
Flipping you away. It is. So yeah, I can completely recommend it, and I'm trying to do something similar, although not that powerful, I think.
What's the writer's last name?
Banks, Ian M. Banks. It's the Culture Books.
Okay.
And this is probably the most acclaimed.
He's amazing. He's amazing. His books are amazing. They're brilliant. Yeah.
The culture is actually the most possible of utopias for me. It's got dystopian elements to it. That's why it's so believable as well. And it's basically a world where AIs create everything for humans, simply because very powerful AI is so fascinated by humans that we are so unpredictable and creative and crazy that they just want to take care of us and let us live our craziness.
Yeah, well, I would say that one of the most dystopian books that I read recently was Nightfall by Isaac Asimov and Robert Silverberg. That one relates so much to the zeitgeist right now. I mean, I was actually thinking, not to give a spoiler to those that haven't read it, but there was a part in the book that I was relating to January 6th, even though it was just the event as it presented itself was very much like January 6th. It was total psychotic madness.
Yeah.
And how people react to stimuli. And in this case, it's a world that only knows light, and they don't know full nighttime. They live with 4 suns, but every 2,000 plus years, there is an eclipse. And when the eclipse happens, they think it's the end of the world.
Oh yeah. Sounds really good. Another book that I can recommend on the sci-fi series before I let other people talk as well is Metro 2033. It's quite a cult book that produced a cult game, a shooter, written by this Russian guy. I can't remember his name, but just look it up, Metro 2033. It's kind of
Right, we'll just carry on with Mr. Robert Freeland. Bob.
Thank you. I'm calling from Rockport, Massachusetts, formerly known as Sandy Bay, formerly known by the Algonquin as Annisquam. We were talking about village names, historical village names at the opening here. First one I have, I participated in the group writing that Finn hosts, and he gave me my prompt, the lines from a previous poem, the last line, that's where you had to start, and he apologized, as well he should have. It was Fish Contemplation. So here's my poem, Fish Contemplation. Fish contemplation can spontaneously occur at lakeside, perhaps becomes suddenly aware of his life. It has almost unfolded. He is curious about this future, where he might be going. He may perhaps be an animal. Always feeling he has been in over his head, he wonders, would he come back as a water driller, perpetually floating, pretending to dream? Then just as suddenly he is awakened to the reality of his now in a park on the shore of Lake Michigan, where children run in time with the rhythms of a fountain in Chicago on August 14th, 2021 at 5:48 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I loved Michael's work. I particularly love that you do forms. I've got a quick haiku that called Two Cats. Our relationship. Two neutered cats forgetting what never happened. And here's a triolet, and it goes, which I really love. I was so glad to hear him. Waves unfurl from foam to glass. Ripples vibrate green to blue. Sands accept their soft trespass. Waves unfurl from foam to glass. All the stars each grain surpass. Atoms in each grain do too. Waves unfurl from foam to glass. Ripples vibrate green to blue. And I have one last one, if I may, called Birds Die. Do birds die? Do birds die? They have to. It's just you never see their corpses, except perhaps when ravaged by a cat or the occasional one that had tried to fly through a closed window, lying neck broken on the porch, or had misjudged traffic and was left bloody and twisted on the road. They must generally die in mid-flight and disintegrate before hitting the ground, their feathers swept away by the wind. The other night, like some suicide bomber wrapped in a vest of explosive self-pity, I hurled spasmodic false threats, detonated words like a terrorist, oblivious to consequences, only to destroy myself and damage an innocent, the innocent who gives the world its meaning. Now, every day since, I wish that instead I was some bird that died in mid-flight and disintegrated before hitting the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Great to see you back here again. Thank you very much indeed. I don't know if anybody know that when it was earlier on this year, Mr. Whelan there co-hosted a worldwide Rockport Poetry Festival, taking part the whole day, which a couple of us here were awful pleased to be involved in. Being the only Scotsman in it as well, it was a great honour, wonderful stuff, an all-day event. Right, it's almost as long as a Blot nearly, is it? Anyway, sorry. Moving on to Xavier, who was at it as well, yeah.
Hello, thank you very much for having me again. I got just about 5 minutes, that is more than enough for my work break, to do one of the classic poems from my book, The Year of Eternity, called Nothing's New, Rest and Know. Núvols grisos i malsons, caramels suaus i obsessions, pluja groga i bufolles, tota la merda com plampolles. Desitjos llunyans i grans focs, fantasies il·lustres i rovellons, somnis lluents i caps de setmana, tota la vida que demanava. Res de nou, tothom sota el jou, el que ven llibertat és un estafador ben pagat. Orelles captives i cabells de colors, ulls en blanc i sensacions, nasos enfarinats i caps buits, tota la vida farcida de nous rics. Res de nou, tothom sota el jou, el que ven llibertat és un estafador ben pagat. Fonamentalismes immediats, llibertats publicitàries, informacions temeràries, ajustaments ordinaris. And this is it. And if I can read the English version from the book. The book is bilingual, is in Catalan and in English, by Francis Butley, called The Year of Eternity. And in English is Nothing New. And it says, murky clouds and nightmares, mushy toffees and obsessions, yellow rain and mottles, all the crap of brimming bottles, distant longings and giant flames, lofty fantasies and mushrooms, shiny dreams and weekends, all the life I ever asked for. Nothing new, everyone under the yoke. He who sells freedom is a well-paid trickster. Captive fevers, captive ears and multicolor hair, vacant eyes and sensations, floored nostrils and empty heads, the loaded lives of the nouveau riche. Nothing new, everyone under the yoke. He who sells freedom is a well-paid trickster. Instant fundamentalisms, freedom flyer promotion, reckless breaking news flash, humdrum readjustments. And actually, this is a song that got some award years ago in Catalonia, and I'll put the link on the chat because it's a quite an interesting tune. You see, it's I think musically is the most complete tune I have ever recorded, and believe me, I've done plenty of them. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I do hope that you at least have enjoyed. You see, I wish you all a good time. I gotta go back to work and help the boys, and I'll put the link before I go. And a shame, I'll leave the microphone on so I can listen to all of you. Okay, I can enjoy all your poetry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. That was as powerful, as wonderful as always. I'm glad you managed to find time to join us. Cheers. Thank you, Xavier. All right. Okay, yes, brother Rick now, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for accommodating a crazy poet like myself. I want to thank my brother Finn and so many of these wonderful poets. I have a poem that is for all of you. It's called Distant Friends. Distant friends, when you find yourself in that midnight hour, chasing dreamy dancers through some drowsy bower, distant friends your mind may visit, the searing scene, the love exquisite, while miles may seem to separate, and likewise time its burden shake. No convincing my heart will confessing berate to bear the weight. Such closeness will find this surely, this time best, so blessed. Bestir to put that pen to work, and testing, trace the tale, while miles and tempests shirk in hearts that know no distance for such deep felt yearning work. In hearts where passion's fires are burning, lay you on that lonely night still turning, filled with love and friendship bright. When next we speak, we will confide all the love and need inside, burning, heartfelt warmth and passion plenty, all that yet tonight my arms are empty. This is one for our ancestors. We just had All Saints Day, we had the Dia el Muerta, we had Halloween in the US. So I was asked to write something for Halloween, and since spooky scary isn't my thing, I have too much respect for life, for the essence that is souls and spirits, to write something in that vein. But I thought I would try to get something near. So I wrote this. It's called Ancestral Minstrels. Oh, ghosts today, although some disturbed might be to see the shaking, quaking of that old ancestral tree, they check quite regular by my watch come stalking. I hear them quite nearly weekly talking to check the progress we living have made since they took their bones deep to the grave. Oh, have we let old Maud's house plants to perish? Do we living low their turn to perish? Laugh they at the living's troubles yet, when splashed by passing cars get wet? Still puzzled by the cranky boss are we? Comes the mumbling from that old ancestral tree. Back in my day, I hear old Grandpap murmur, we stood attention like a soldier. Now, instead, his old boss lies a dusty. No more does he his mustache angry thrusty. No more sturdy than that creaky chair o' there. No more lusty today, all stayed, all unaware of that once quite savory lass, who once we clerky types slow past. She's no more spry and lithe and such. Old Mildred's now a musty, crusty dunch does lunch. When Grandpa deigns to wheezing pass, I no more quake when from his dusty grasp by chance. Why, I used to always make him laugh when ere his grave I pass. I remember his dogs, old Chake and Marley, noisy and cranky like a damned old trolley. I hear them blast those ancient barks from as long ago as Merlin's larks. He once was young as we e'en so, and shall we, from these charming pastures go. But soon, like Grampy, our time will pass, and of our stem and stern we'll only laugh, and pass into time a legend sure. So cut for Grandma from pumpkin pie just one more swidgen, dear. And if time allows, I will do just one final bit of political poetry. Many times we've seen battles of freedom need to be refought and refought and refought and refought. This is called Reproductive Freedom Day. Reproductive Freedom Day. Put your Puritan lies away. We must stop those who would delay Reproductive Freedom Day. They lie and say they cherish life. They punish mother, child, and family strife. Reproductive Freedom Day. We must honor Reproductive Freedom Day. No contraceptive should be banned. All these Puritan ways are out of hand. No, be damned. No condom, IUD, or barrier. Let no religion, frigid fight. Can't they dig it? And while we're at it, let me add access to medical care lists without hideous mountains of death, lest we forget. We dare and care. It's Reproductive Freedom Day.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. I hope your Coriolanus went well tonight, sir.
I had some help from some amazing voices, and we'll be opening up the roles for new actors for Act 4 on next Sunday. So Flynn, thank you for mentioning it. All of you who participated and all of you who thought about it, thank you so much. I'm in your debt, one and all. Thank you.
I will be there. I will be there. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's move on now to Henry.
You're on mute.
Henry, you're muted.
Sorry, that's the second time I've done that this week. I usually am on top of my game. Is it possible, Finn, to share a screen for my second piece because it's in the form of a video, or I can just read it?
No, it's fine. Share screen's always open. So you
Good.
don't have to.
Okay, so let me do my first one, which is a new poem I've written. It's called Icarus. Castaway sun, feathers of my broken wings, scattered with discarded sentiments and broken dreams, having not heeded the warnings given by the wise, nor the wounds of past experience that gained an upper hand, and covering my eyes with careless thoughts, directing me to an ensuing wrestling match with emotions, having taken misdirected flight, uncertain where I might land, reckless abandon borne by currents of air over sharp rocks and rough ground, conquered by wiser birds. The sun beckoned me with delicate fingers, touching my soul, with delicate hands, drawing me nearer, with a whisper like a soft breeze. Had I but learned from past experience from touching the flame, yet I reached out into the light to again feel the pain, fire singeing my wings as I tumble down, eye to eye with existence, a singularity within the black hole of an empty heart. No solace from suffering as I crash into the oncoming tide, left floating aimlessly. Of what value are the hours now spent in recollection, having only pulled me deeper into the ocean's swell? A ripple of water in time, the tide guiding me to the void. In my second piece, I'm going to share screen, and hopefully this will work. Share sound, optimize video clip, and I want to use, oh, sorry, wrong screen. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. Oh, no, this one was the right one. Let me just do something here. Right there. So hopefully you all can see this. I don't know why it's still showing that.
Not yet.
Do you see YouTube?
Nope, just seeing you.
There's nothing coming up, Henry.
Okay.
Oh, there you
Here
go.
you go. Now it said you're sharing. Hang on.
Okay. Okay.
It's not up yet though. It's loading.
Do you see a YouTube screen?
No, it's loading. It says Henry. Here it comes. Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Thank you. Universal out of yesterday's garden. Tomorrow's wilderness. An insight reflected on a dewdrop, resting on a leaf. And within that, the smallest of infinities. Did everybody see that?
What did you mean to share? We're seeing a fret scale.
Oh,
nothing.
okay. Okay,
Fret
so
scale,
I
that's
did get
all.
a message.
We're looking at
here.
your Luxuria Music Internet Radio login screen. I don't think that's
Okay,
what you meant to
that's
share.
very strange. That's very strange because I'm getting a.
We've been
Nobody
having
said
interesting
anything.
chat in the background while your thing went on.
It didn't.
All right, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
I think you need to accept the cookie.
This is
Try
very
accepting-
strange.
Yeah, people aren't accepting your cookie.
It didn't take away from the sound performance though, so.
Well, this is obviously not going to work because let me get out of screen share. Now I don't even know how to get out of screen share. All I'm
Okay,
seeing.
go to the top of your screen where it says view options.
No, I don't even have that anymore. All I have is 4 pictures from Finn's group.
The host
Okay, so go to 4 pictures.
I got it.
Leave and come back then. If you leave, we'll, yeah.
No, I got it. I got it. Sorry about that, everybody. That was like 4 minutes of what the heck were you looking at? It was a poem called Shaman. And I had put a video up there. And for some reason, I kept on getting a message that screen share was paused, but nobody said anything. So I thought you heard it. It was playing for me.
Oh, we heard it, but what we were looking at was some sort of scale, something.
Oh, you actually heard the piece.
We heard
We heard the
Yeah,
music,
we heard it. That's
but
the important part.
but didn't see anything.
Oh, my apologies. Well, I'm going to have to put the link into the.
Put the link in the chat.
Yeah, that really bums me out. Yeah, it was a film that I did, and I kind of reimagined it. It was done in 2009, and I wrote a poem that. Now I'm getting an echo.
So are we. So are we. So are we.
Henry, I closed my eyes,
But just mute
had a
yourself.
glass of wine, and I loved it.
To Gary to come up with the best solution.
I'll give you a hint. If anybody has seen Ben Wheatley's film called A Field in England, this film relates in some cases to that, except it doesn't deal with mushrooms. But
okay.
Oh no, but I love mushrooms. Put it up. Put it up.
has anybody seen A Field in England?
What?
No, no,
Oh, you haven't seen the film.
no.
I thought it said, has anybody seen a paedophile in England?
Okay, no. What it is,
I've seen a lot of fields in England.
what it is a film that's set in England in the 1600s, but it's a psychedelic film. It's shot in black and white. And it's about a mushroom circle. And 4 individuals that encounter it, and they meet up with the 5th one, and everything that ensues. And it's set in the 1600s.
Okay.
It's such a great film that Henry's telling us twice.
It's one of my favorite movies recent years, believe it or not.
I've heard about those magic mushrooms.
Oh, hi. I'd like to try them.
All right, muting everyone now. Sorry. That was a surreal experience, regardless of anything, right? Next up, we have someone making his Blot debut, and we have to issue an apology for him tonight because I actually missed it being hard of hearing, and I didn't have the transcripts on it this time. There was John McMullen's pieces. He gave a rather inappropriate language which offended our next reader, and you know that Blot is one of the most safest places you can come to. So please accept our humble apologies, Keith, and please warm welcome to Keith Marr.
Thank you, Finn. I appreciate it very much. I am going to share a piece, and I want to tell you a little bit about the genesis of it. I was waking up at 4 a.m. with memories of my childhood. Now, I was aware of these memories. They would resurface periodically, and they were so shameful to me that I would push them down and conveniently forget for maybe a year or two, maybe 5 years, until they would resurface again, and I would repeat the suppression of them until finally, this last time, there was a voice that said to me, Keith, you must write me down if you're ever to be whole. And so I did. And then the voice said, now you must perform it in front of other people. And that's how I actually wrote my very first poem, which is what I'm going to share with you. And I hope I'm coming through loud and clear. Can anybody just nod or?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. This piece is called Erasure. Erasure. I am in agony. I am 7 years old. My class at my almost all-white elementary school in Fresno, California, has to draw a self-portrait. I am in agony. I can't finish my drawing. Each time I draw my face, I erase, I start over. I draw my face again, and I erase again. Each time I come ever so close to completing my face, I'm filled with shame at what I see. For what I see staring back at me is my Chinese face. You see, when the Gestapo boots of every kid marching in the Ching Chong Chinaman parade marches on a tender young throat, it grinds a lasting heel print, a black and blue bruise of self-hate. And if I'm honest, it was my Chinese eyes I felt the most ashamed of. I feel ashamed to admit this even now. They say that the eyes are the window to the heart. That is to say, if you look closely enough, an entire life can be seen. Pain, joy, heartbreak. I don't think the kids ever took the time to look closely enough into mine. They also say that the eyes are the mirror to the soul, and like a mirror, they also reflect the person looking into them. Did the kids mock me without ever seeing their own reflection? Do we mock others today without ever seeing our own reflection? Since I was young, my eyes told me we turn a blind eye to the immense power of a tongue wielded like a scythe to lacerate the heart with words that maim. Words like, go back to your own country. Women cannot be believed. They're all rapists. Japs, chink, gook. And it didn't help that my mother admonished me not to offend others' eyes by wearing colors that make me look too yellow. Too yellow for whom, Mom? But you see, she had been breathing in the smog in the air for even longer than me. The 7-year-old me agonized over how to make my drawing look like me without making it look too Chinese. I truly was in agony. Now, shame and humiliation, at the time, I didn't know those were the words for the feelings I had. What I did know was that I felt a hot flush in my face when I looked at the face I had drawn before I quickly erased it. What I did know is that I covered it up when anyone walked by, which is crazy since the kids saw me every day. But racism is funny that way. What I did know is I didn't want to face my face. My face, this face, it made me feel so out of place. This face of mine, it seemed the source of my disgrace. This face of mine, I so wished I could replace. A sad reminder of my lack of place. In the end, sadly, the drawing I turned in had the eyes and face of a little white boy. You see, after all that erasing, I had erased myself. And what I want to tell you, and what I didn't realize that day, was that I was erasing so much more than my face. I was erasing the beauty of who I was and the unique gifts that I bring. I was erasing my history, my culture, my identity. I was erasing my appreciation for my language until Chinese sounded like an awful, shameful screech against a schoolroom chalkboard. I was erasing my love of my mother's delicious cooking. I was erasing my appreciation for my hardworking father, who did not look like the heroes in the movies, and made me despair that we could ever be the heroes in our own stories. I was erasing my desire to be and share who I was. And what I didn't realize was that I was beginning the complete erasure of myself, the beginning of a lifelong struggle that I would not overcome for years, a struggle to love myself as I am, to love myself with this skin, this rich, golden, amber, honey butter skin I was blessed with. Now I reclaim myself. I am a golden child of God. And to love myself with this face, the same face I once saw in a museum, atop a proud terracotta warrior. Now I restore myself. I am a proud Chinese warrior. And to love myself with these eyes, yes, with these eyes, my beautiful obsidian eyes, that tell the tale of my ancestors, if you look deeply enough into them. This is a story I would forget for years, until my story all at once shook me, rocked me, held me, cradled me, and whispered, "This time it's safe to listen to me." This story is an old friend that points to where my healing is. I know now this shame isn't something I was meant to keep. We were not meant to stay wounded. We were meant to be blessings. We were meant to be poems across the sky. I leave my shame behind me. I release my shame into the wind, into the ocean, into the sky. I hold my head up high. I look the world square in the eye with these eyes. My brothers and sisters, it's time. It's been time. It is about time. I told my story to all of you now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wow, that is fucking amazing. That is one of the most powerful things I've heard in here. Thank you very much for joining us. And wow, thank you.
Thank you.
And I can only apologize once more for that, man. Please come back. Please feel safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Finn.
welcome, sir. Whew. What a day, what a night. Okay, move on now to another Blot debut. Please welcome Ian Mack.
I been. I think you rechristened me Ema in an earlier post, but that's okay. You know, if I ever come back as a woman, you know, reincarnated, I think I'd quite go for Ema as quite a hot name for that aside. Okay, I was very moving, Keith, very touching and very powerful. I feel I need to take a breath before I start again now. Give us a bit of a moment's respite. That was, yeah, no child should have to feel that way, I think, under any circumstances. So I excuse me, I dug out 4 sonnets. I started writing them about 6-7 years ago. And I think traditionally sonnets have been associated with love themes. These 4 are in some way related to love, but I'm going to present them here under the collective heading, The Cracked Love Sonnets. So that's a bit of a hint of what's coming. So the first sonnet is the very first sonnet I ever wrote. When you have taken all of mine, leaving thin memories of a happier time, when nothing it seems worthwhile is left, then I have suffered such an unjust theft. When all I had was wrapped up in you, then this sad loss cannot be renewed. Such priceless treasures are not so easy bought, though of a kind that's often sought. But bitter wounds as these will often heal, leaving scars of ease if given time. And the heart may yet learn to feel the loving warmth of some other's smile, and I too might learn to bear no ill will, except the thoughts that echo in these rhymes. Thanks. And this is the second sonnet I ever wrote. This is called sonnet number 2. He wears his heart upon his sleeve. There it is, plain for all who care to look, as if seeking out a kindly reprieve. His pale face reads like a sad page in a book. The eyes stare out dark windows on his soul. With innocent candor, they confront our gaze, which we are powerless to control. They speak eloquently of tear-stained days. And we who slyly keep our hearts concealed, thinking to be worldly wise and master of our emotions, head over heart, we encase ourselves inside a plaster cast with which we try in vain to hide the hurt of past loves that never can be healed. Thanks. And this one, sonnet number 6, the third one. A curt nod, a silent acknowledgement, no words exchanged, none needed to explain. Eyes often meet across a void to gaze at a kindred spirit who senses our own pain. The space measured in an arm's length or two, fingertip to fingertip, stretches beyond infinity, all empty space for those who feel no sense of contact, no human bond. This is the sense of being in the world, of being human, a double-edged sword. On one hand, the eye of the conscious mind that opens up a whole wide universe. On the other, closed off from our own kind, imprisoned like rhymes, interlocked in verse. Thanks. And for the finale in this series, this is a bit later, sonnet number 31 on the contradictions of love, because obviously love is contradictory, I think by definition. Love is a contradictory thing in as much that happiness is not assured. At times it pitches with a hollow ring as the unwary are ensnared and lured by false promises leading to vain hopes. Infatuations lead to hearts being blighted, emotions torn, left blooded on the ropes, giving all but remaining unrequited. Some say love and hate are but the same, two even sides of a coin, flipped to choose between bliss or misery and pain, while green-eyed jealousy afflicts those who lose their way, being too eager to reprove the fickle, doe-eyed monster they call love. Thank you. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, you. Love your sonnets. Love your sonnets. Thanks for joining us, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Oh, and congratulations on the newborn. If it's
Well, we're still hanging about waiting. So, as I says, as my wife June says, the baby's not cooked yet, so it's not ready to come out the oven. So, all right. We nip over now, Germany, to Lantern Carrier.
Step over to Germany. Cool. Letter to our daughter. Dearest princess, we just want to tell you how much we love you, how much you mean to us. The light that shines in you is the same one glimmering in the deepest recesses of our spirit, which makes us divinely proud and supremely happy. Continue in this loving affection you show to me, to mom, friends, even those who may not like us. Life is full of setbacks and shadows, and you will stumble. Yet a fall from slippery snow does not mean that the snow itself is not beautiful. One simply needs to learn to know how of walking on its edge, to pick up oneself, go upwards, onwards, forwards. Oh, dear, cute, sweet, charismatic child, how we yearn to hold these charming conversations. We sometimes whispered the resonance of silence in your ears, cradle their simplicity heart with the language of love. Watch the rays of your immaculate beauty slipplessly soaring upwards towards heaven. Alas, you were too young to comprehend then. Yet nothing is ever wasted, and the fruits of our silent endeavors, Mom and I, this is the breath of your memories and makes us both proud as they bear fruits. Know that you are bliss, the very pulse of existence, a unique dream of love. Yet life's struggle is necessary for growth, and sometimes you will feel the candle of adversity. Still, you are the mother of all jewels, the son of all sons, and an unspoken princess among princesses. Your sparkle dances in the heavens, forms a unique synergy of moon and stars. Your joy echoes in the music of the unknown, where all are one. But you must believe this. Have passion and a one-pointed focus to achieve great things, knowing that it is the essence of the love within which navigates your sails. This is the secret of secrets. Know this and be free. Let goodness be your aim, and you'll be great, as long as you can let go to a higher light, which is always present. Say with the Master, I can of my own self do nothing. It is you who dwelleth within me, who doeth the work. Grant me the grace to walk through 1,000 Hades, if only to see thy wondrous gaze. Minimize your anxieties, for they are transient and imaginary as shadows. The light still shines in the heavens, even when the night is black. Stars will emerge with Orion to cover its denseness with luminous beams. So, dearest, as the new year looms, let us walk forward to an abundant life, meaningfully and purposefully in this symphony, an ever-growing melody echoing in our souls. Remember, you were a blooming flower who became a radiant rose, a peerless tapestry who became a priceless gift. We awoke upon a golden dawn, only to find you flooding our hearts with the brilliant hue of your tenderness, shining with the opulence of heaven. Your inner sweetness soothes and calms our spirit. Your elegance dances upon the wings of light. So now we lie on the lap of a Caribbean moonlight, basking in the beauty of our priceless pearl. We have seen butterflies emerge from the cocoon, only to emanate like rainbows. Stars twinkle in the twilight of celestials, a miracle of the mercy of cosmic light. Now we see your enchanted elegance oozing from the symmetry of your smile, and we feel blessed. O Supreme Boatman, do continue to navigate the songbird of our daughter's soul so that she too can find her way home. Lantern Carrier, thank you.
Thank you, my friend. As wonderful words as ever, sir. Thank you. Always a pleasure. All right, as usual in Blot, we are very fluid. And it's nothing to do with the amount of water I've been drinking tonight. So instead of Kelly, next up is Kate.
Thanks, Finn. I love that lantern so much. I said to Finn, I have to go next because it's starting to lull me into a soft, sleepy sense. I was up at 6 a.m. Doing the Your Place Slam this morning, so I'm a little bit tired. So thanks for letting me go next. Finn, you'd said that this theme tonight was something to do with beat. Is that right?
Do with what, sorry?
Do with beat.
Beat, well, yeah, we just the name of it, Release the Beat.
So I'm going to release the beat, my poem, okay? So I've got some poetry about beats, heartbeats. This, I don't often do love poems. This is a very short love poem. If I said, I love you, the words would only be skin deep. When it's with my heart's beat, I love you. So deep, 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 I love you. But I can't sleep without something to remind me of you. This other poem is written to my own resting heartbeat. Was set a task in a workshop to count my pulse for a minute. Got a very low pulse, so I didn't get many words to put into this. So another short poem. There are 64 beats in terms of syllables, and it's called Dizziness, because with having a low heartbeat, I've also got low blood pressure. I often feel dizzy. So, and I hear it in my ears. So it's called Dizziness. Membrane tympani plays a rhythm for me. Swoosh of blood as pressure swoops low, cottoning sound. A wave of stress, drowning, beats from my chest. Stomach replies, lurching precariously. I must take this precious, precipitous life more seriously. And then one final poem about beats. This was written This was written kind of looking back to my 16-year-old self, and found it really difficult when I was younger, imagining what life could be like without the protection that my mother gave me. We were a one-parent family, and I loved her so much. I couldn't imagine how I would kind of live without her. So this is in honor of a mother's love from the perspective of a traumatized child. A mother's love. The reverse is true. I was too young to know my heart. My heart was you. Each time you left for work, my heart went too, piggybacking into the unknown with you. I had no concept of time. When you left, you were gone forever. My sorrow, a grief of absolute separation. When I said I loved you more than anything in the world, that was the raw honesty of an abandoned heart. I could not see a future without you. The only way I could bear to exist was to learn to live apart. No wonder I was impossible at 16. My heart was learning how to beat for itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Glad you're not going to do a Boris on us and fall asleep halfway through.
Oh,
All right. Yeah, okay. Okay, Kelly, you can go now then. Thank you.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you all doing? And it's always such a tough thing to follow Kate, by the way. I'll just put that out there, right? I don't have any news yet tonight. Just a bit like Catalina earlier, I started writing a kid's book, and it was just meant to be like a 300-word board book, and 2,000 words later it's turned into an ordeal, and so we're working on it, guys. We're working on it. And with the school holidays, my writing has fallen by the wayside, but never mind. So I thought what I would do tonight is, a lot of you know, one of the things I do for a living is I read tarot. And I'm not sure if all of you know about tarot, but not that long ago, Finn asked us, well, some of us, to participate in a film called Desolation of Poets. Now, when you think of the word desolation as a tarot reader, you get this card, right? It's the 9 of Swords. As a reader, if I pull that out in someone's reading, I can kind of get a good idea of the mind space that they're in. It's a very negative mind space. It's somewhere, it's called the Dark Night of the Soul card. So when Finn mentioned the word desolation, I wrote this, and I thought it was just a nice homage to the darkest card in the tarot. Okay. So it's called 9 of Swords. Have you ever felt sadness full of hate and abrasion? It's an ominous place, an eternal damnation. It throbs in me now as I pray for salvation. Desolation must be the harshest vibration. My painted-on face is a sad hallucination. Pretty colours and trinkets can't feign real elation. Loneliness looms and completes the equation, and I'm locked once again into glum isolation. The girl in my head, she wails in frustration. She bangs on my walls in stark desperation. Why can't I halt her atrocious narration? She tells me that solitude is my fated destination. But a glimmer of sunlight heralds my latest fixation. Could it be an end to this salvation? Weeks get by with flirtatious titillation, and love filters in as we bask in exaltation. I tried to let go of all past violations, but it was too hard to swim in that sea of aggravation. So of course he pulls back and begins the starvation, leaving me drowning in weak protestations. Have you ever felt sadness full of hate and abrasion? It's an ominous place, an eternal damnation. It stabs in me now as I pray for salvation. Desolation must be the harshest vibration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Kelly. Up next, Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Wonderful evening. Okay, so this one is a short one in honor of Remembrance Day and all who, yeah, it just is in for Remembrance Day. It's called Ancient Memory. I will be an ancient memory. Tell me the story of my life. What did I honor? What did I love of all things that exist and in my memory? I will tell you. I never tired of the trees, the sweet face of
And she's gone. Oh, they're back at the bottom. There we go. You're muted. You're muted, Leslie. No, still.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
try again. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's more stable. This one's called Ancient Memory. I will be an ancient memory. Tell me the story of my life. What did I honor? What did I love of all things that exist and in my memory? I will tell you. I never tired of the trees and all their moods, the sweet face of a well-loved dog, irritated small children screaming full throttle like the banshees, the passion of life coursing through us all. I watch, paying attention with love, the insects of the summer crawling our walls each week, a new one, the small joke between us when the corners of the mouth play like a tickle and the eyes meet. This is who I was. This is who I am, watching and paying attention. The kindnesses shared with strangers, brothers and sisters all. If we move on and forget, because this is our time, this is our lives, know that the memory of you remains locked in our hearts. A collective memory, a shared memory for us and all who pass. Okay, so I will read this one. It's called The Ghost in the Middle of the Mirror, and this is after Blake's Songs of Innocence and Experience. I make no claims upon experience because what I know deeply could fit itself inside of a thimble. What I know well, what I do not know is vast, and that is how it is. So I, the sometimes humble who knows very little, I make no claims upon innocence, which I knew once and know no more in the way that I knew, because I have seen the world and I have felt the world so hard in its always state of disarray, so hard in its ever-present riot of disarray that disarrays the soul. I have seen the world as you have, my friend, alongside you with every footfall, and I can say, as can you, that I know the world, and that what I know is so often too much that I know nothing at all. We freeze often in our wanting innocence to stay there in the space of our need for purity with it, in it, congealed innocence as a solid form. Seductive is our thirst, our longing for the purity, or so we believe. If we could just hold it, hold to it, hold open the space of purity and light, all will be right in the world and with us. All is right in the light, innocence, fresh and new as spring flowers that remain set in place in our mind, our spirit, congealed once and forever, or so we think. We hold to the idea of, the ideal of the purity of innocence. Ah, innocence fresh as all that is new, solid form we believe. We are frozen in the primal first knowing of the babies we once were, the not knowing of the very young, the not wanting to know of the fully grown who hide from the other knowing, the dirty and unclean knowing of life, the disavowal of the muddied life that is experience, this life and us in it, the longing for the crystalline purity and the certainty of innocence, the first snow or ice, clean and cold, yet as nothing is constant, it melts and we melt with it on the way to liquid, on the way to molecular undoneness. This change is inevitable. Even though we deny, no, we say, and meanwhile becoming liquid, messy changelings, all, we are messy with the messiness of all changelings, infirm, and we find ourselves melding with the not is. What is this that cannot disavow that we are indeed mud? The disavowal of muddied life. Is innocence a state of being? Is wisdom a state, a place attained, a place that we attain, a place of ingrained imagined grace or perfection, and stay there forever frozen? The polarization of two. Is innocence a place, a state of mind, and being at which you arrive there, and wisdom the same? I'm hearing an echo. A state of being, the twin apparitions, the ghost that meets in the middle of the mirror, this ghost in the mirror, where they meet is the juncture of change, like ice becoming water. Where they meet is at the precipice, the juncture of essence, non-being and being, or essence and non-being joined. Where they meet is at the juncture of change, where snow turns into water and being becomes liquid, which moves. Okay, I'm gonna try one more. This is sort of weird. This will go real quick. This one's called The Snows of August. In August, I dream of snow. It is not only me. We dream together the dreams of great heights, silence, stillness, and the moon. There is a darkness in August, the long shadow of summer, and the heat, the heat, the heat. Who will remember this time for us? Who will remember? If I dance in your moonlight, my shadow will become the midnight breeze that ruffles your hair. If you sleep, my love, if you sleep. The trees know you, as do I, and guard you as you dream. Their branches dancing and dancing, as do I in the moonlight. Dance with me tonight, my love. How is it from your perch, from your loft, from your distance that you are from me? What do you see from those dizzying reaches? It is not just the snow in August on the roof. It is something else, something yet to be known that I must trust even though I cannot see it, cannot imagine it, cannot know it, and maybe never will. I must trust that I will. I must trust or not, or perhaps just simply be, just simply be. Your secrets are the private well of your soul sleeping deep and undisturbed. How quiet I am, as only God knows, and no other. How quiet I am. I will not wake them, nor shake them, nor talk too loud. They are that they sleep, your secrets, and they shall. Wet seeping through to the inside to rain on us like tears, the snows of August of our dream roof, crying on us, weeping all night while we dream. I feel the cold, but it is not suffering, this rain. It is a blessing. It is our blessing. It is our life. It is life. Dream blindness, dream clarity or madness. How much can we see from this great height, this maddening, sublime, frightening precipice of this dream? Holding on to the side of our cliff in the little house of August with snow on the roof, holding on to the improbable, the impossible, dizzying architecture of our dreams, yet we do hold on and are afraid and not afraid at the same time. The architecture only of our God or of our demons, crazy structures we manifest yet do not know, the ocean of private madness in which we all swim, the glimpse of what it was before we were and what it will be when we are not, practicing our death each night. We are afraid without fear. Surely this is God or our guardian angel taking care of us while we sleep. This is what we are here to learn. I am weeping with the rain, saturated and numb from the cold and want and want. What is it that I want now? now, always. I have so much. How can I be dissatisfied? Yet I am. I will know certainly sometime, but maybe not now. Desire, I am human. I am deeply flawed, full but empty, always the gnawing, the insistent gnawing, the knowing of nothingness from the inside out, and still the unknowing remnants of fear. I am here to learn. Tonight, right now, I know only that I desire to dance with you in the moonlight and little else. And I am satisfied with the not knowing. For now, I am satisfied. For now. I'm crying for August. I'm crying for myself. Finally, I let myself cry and it comes out ragged and wrong. I'm crying for myself and the weights, the burdens of my love, self-imposed because I love. Is this love, being burdened, being only that I am burdened by love? Ragged and wrong, I must know more, but I do not yet. Let me settle into August. Let me release myself as snow that melts upon the touch of the overhot roof of August and rains down upon you as you sleep. And I too shall sleep satisfied at last. That's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It'd be cold enough here without cold snow in August. Thank you very much. Anyway, that was lovely. Thank you very much indeed. All right, we'll move on. Lucia, I hope you're still here. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but it's your turn next. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to use share screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. My first poem, So Much Autumn by Lucia Daramus to Dr. James and Dr. Cooper. So much autumn is inside us. Let me go to open the windows of the words for birds and spring. If you forget me, the branches of the tree will whisper a song about my life. Yes, my poems are written in the roots of a tree, and you and your lover having a walk into the life's forest will listen to my poem songs. But now I am in room number 6, with nurses in blue uniforms around, carrying injection for people with flapping imagination in their minds. A door is noisy. A key of the carriers is breaking the privacy. And click, click. The carrier is inside, checking if your minds are still in the present. And doctors that try to understand our words, imaginary words, in delusion stories and behave. They push us to reality, but we, as children, stuck forever in a concocted narrative in which us fly, 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 in imaginative life, and feel and smell an ordinary coffee from the world. Some of us have so much autumn inside crown, but be happy, be happy. Autumn is mean colors, and we pick up these powerful autumn colors and draw with them and our minds the sky. I will ask my doctors what kind of colors prefer, because I will preserve for them a very beautiful painted room in the sky. All of us are birds who will fly. Just a small feast of soil will remain from us. Someday a cohort of people will say goodbye to us, and some of the earth of us will lay down maybe under a secular tree with colored leaves in its crown, because so much autumn is inside us. Let me fly in life and in death to sing my vibrant poems around trees and clouds and stars. The wind will carry out on its wings my poems forever in the future, a future like an orange sun. Its rays will come up and come down with my poetry lines, because the voices said me we feel that so much autumn is inside us. autumn inside us. And the second poem, Birds Singing by Lucia Daramus. Rain, 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 with sad feathers, falling down from an angel's wings, metamorphosed into ashes of cherubs, kissing the forehead of the ill. The examination is revealed, no symptoms of fever, no broken bones, no high pressure, but the poet is nearly dead. The examination is revealed. The patient has a deep lack of love, love from the entire world. The poet is suffering. She is ill. Her voices around her ears smash her brain, brain, but she is speaking for everyone. She has a word, light. Look to the light and run to the light. A friend is someone who is holding your hand, running with you to the light, touching your soul with this. So, when I die, let windows opened, birds coming in and coming out, singing my poems, and above, only lights. Thank you. Thank you. This was my poems.
Thank you, Lucia. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you. Okay, next up, Chris. Chris.
Thank you. This is Diablo and the Curse of Rumpelstiltskin. I was offered a job by a wolf in sheepskin. It was a ragged swab that sorcerers spin. I travelled in a cart, rummelled rods like yogurt, our rigs so apple tarts, and hooved tricket dirt. The cart was hijacked, so the wrecked transport gied the tracks a knock, fae trails o' clatched clart. It was to teach language for damaged books, my carried baggage dragged for the nooks. A bon horse and carriage were voodoo taxis, robbers had a rummage, buttons were currency. Welcomes to a fridge, me fox said good riddance, where ogres burnt their bridge, their een rolled in a glance. Slesters o' a smudge, a tune in wickets, folk rob a grudge, stacks o' wild buckets. Credits and debits dance, biggins o' skittles, trows in a trance, and winds made wiggle. So the ill-looked job, like a poisoned apple, a door wi' nae knob at the Tour o' Babel, a possessed mob, aye chased by the coppers, a kettle jigged on a hob, they ran through a mirror. Shan the ribs o' the village's girdle, a tune in a tub, piggy in the middle. Apples were dooked with their skulls in treacle, lost boots were hooked, the beaches were brittle. So the words I taught covered up crimes, numbers and knots, naughty nursery rhymes, pickles in chamber pots, lemon and lime, coins swallowed in slots, 13 o'clock chimes. The tune o' tiddlywinks, a mess o' marbles, flashbacks and blinks, horned and horrible. This silly job, the prince and the pauper, courts at the crub, stone cups and saucers. The ramshackle cart shoved our slime, weaved with the dirt, paths plitted grime. The devil's dialect, in shoot black ruins, that the crass picked, words shovelled by spoons. O' the Tour o' Babel, every lair that leads to trouble like a slippery stair. Medusa's tales, forests o' stubble, fonts that failed and forked speech bubbles. Nae one could build folk for that bubble. The doors were nailed, gridlocked and rubble. The tour like a pear turned into crumble with sugar in layers and fruits twisted tumble. And trows at brocket borders. Sky summon about the water, ram scarves are knotted tiders. The shore is like showed leather, tying the isles together. There is corns o' mulled powder, ower the scabbed rock shooters. Rummelt stones are gathered, lambs roar for their midder. Prince sheep come to be feeders, brocks wreckit by rock ladders. Lassos spun by the speeders, coins roll through the header. For a dowry to a doubter, sign peppers fae a ogre. Across swattles o' water, sprinkle in wi' sleekit otters. So they gied the spike quarter, full o' slaves and martyrs, wi' windows upo the horrors o' trows at brocket borders. And Moloshin, the earth is a midden like cindered puddings. The land is bedridden wi' a things no bidden. Fact rubs wi' friction, weather scripts friction. The moon is a shilling, i' the bank glinking. O men's at the fishing, a wheat Moloshin, the clatch o' ocean, tae spoons o' sea dragons. Germs that were hidden, raised like sma buttons, that gluffed and had smitten the doitin mutton. Bacon turned to shoon, weaved o'er the toon, i' the sorrow's kitchen, swittling poison. And the press is forbidden, reeking and rotten, raw roasted and riven, cream dripping like cotton. Werewolves and villains, witches o' women, wi' clad fingers milling the sun into lemons. Thank you.
That's fine. That was lovely again. Oh, it's great to hear you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you saw in the chat, I'm having to reorganize things. People have to go, people don't.
Sure, sure.
And then that's what happens at this show. So, Therese, you're next.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry to hope I didn't throw anybody off. So when I was listening to Kelly, I resurrected a poem that I did that is actually about the dark night of the soul. And it was in response to Sue Berg's prompt about fairy tales. I could not search in hell's dark night. I travel out of sight through the dark and dank night at the gate outside the forest. They stand with signs and horns warning us off as terror strikes descending down my spine. I was blind to the shadows running across their minds. Withdrawing in fear to the hut I'm assigned with the light that surrounds, I am blind. No maps. New gods appear who do not rear their offspring to relate, as fear drives them from this awful place. Now, just for a while, I start to smile, hearing the familiar song of the bird. I smell the fragrance of a rose, then hear the rushing waters flow ahead of the path on which I tread. Beneath a canopy of ancient trees, I freeze, as I see just up ahead of me the terrors of the night and my feelings of dread. Descending now into the caves at the city gate, not yet made for us, I wait. Is awe what I feel? I surrender to faith. Only love can illumine and recover our sight as we fretfully sojourn within the black night. Will tenderness bind us in the end as we make our way to ascend and feel our hearts and minds begin to blend as we make amends for all we have done to offend? Believing is all that I have, and I've heard forever you will be at my side to guide my steps upon life's trail, supporting me in my travails. Now, safe from all that lurks below, the way ahead I cannot know. The emptiness preserves a space for you to visit with your grace. How will you come? In time or place, or shall I see you in the face of one whose love will set me free and journey on through time with me? Out of the dark and into the light with greater assurance in my flight. I can rely on love at last. The terrors of the night are past. So that's one. And this one is, it's about how I understand, I worked with people with AIDS for about 14 years, and with COVID, a lot of PTSD came up in me and in many of those I know who worked, because, you know, we knew people very well. 10, 20 people a week died, and it was quite awful, but they were wonderful people and taught us a great deal. So anyway, this is called We Can't Outwit the Cut of AIDS. Just behind my eyes, or in the corner passing by, grief lurks. It didn't have to stay, why not somehow another day? The chill of dread descends, though I say they are dead now over decades. I bow my head in a gesture to recall that through the wall of time they are alive after all. I strive to recall their faces while they lived through this time in their very own spaces. Somehow I can't explain the memories that erupt and run a river through my mind now. They run a river through my head, a sorrow lurking in the marrow of my bones. What can expel this dread? It hides within this home in which I dwell. Lifting my eyes, then I see the heavens break in empathy. No, nothing is lost, and then surrounding me they stand. They witness to the love that shepherds once mistook for dread, yet instead it was simply awe that had overtook them. Exposed in every way are vulnerable saints, awash each day, like standing on a railroad track, the surge so strong and no way back. Now, through the potter's clay, they found a way to see and thrive and co-create their destiny. Their touch was fruit, their sounds alive in me. Who knew as life took hold we could become our very own person, making us one? You see, with an unyielding surrender of the ecstatic fantasy, the individual pretender gave way. Teilhard would say, it is in the ecstatic person that connects us in communion with humankind. Believing yet, I feel a chill as COVID prods my memory still. The pain erupts in every face recalled with all the news. My muse urges me on to represent at what expense they surrendered to the person. And penetrating that eternal door, they showed me how to become more, to become one. It is not done. So I don't know if I have any time. I have one more. I don't have to recite it though. Is there time still? Okay, I'll read it. This is the last one. It's called, and this is going to be published in a local anthology. It's called, I Feel a Haunting. Number 1. The meeting in that room, I knew their way, yes. It is true, you know, that it was you, and who knows, in the underground of genes or in the DNA, if we were meant to be. I didn't ask, somehow I knew the way. I didn't ask. Your presence really was all that you had to say. Yes, in that room, I knew the way. As life unfolds and multiplies with ripening fruit and other ways, and others too, yes, and it all began with you. Well, is that so? I do not know. The grieving. I feel a haunting now within my bones, which words cannot describe. The hollowness cannot be filled like dying while alive. I'm traveling just now back to home to make a home and passing by what it is we never owned, as no one ever does. But then I wear that remnant in my flesh from all we've been. And this is life and this is love. Our story never ends. Bejeweled in diamonds, on I go, but never to pretend. Now, when I feel within my bones a call to count the loss, I enter in just as in birth, then sail for other shores. Paradise unfolds. It's paradise, my head cried out in melancholy tone, not in embraces from a love, however much it's grown. Withdrawing then to so speedily from that shame at which remembering is aimed, when I recall that blessed night, I bless the night, I bless the light, which never was too far from home. My body met with destiny, my body wet from love of you, a wondrous love, yes, and then from every portal of my being, as one glorious risk now taken, we were just one. My heart now breaking in reply sings out to heaven with a sigh. It was not a taste of love forsaken, nor was it just the love mistaken, but of unending love awakening. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for putting me up. Thank you, Finn. I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. That was great. So,
That was brilliant.
thank you. All right. Hold on. Echo's back again, isn't it? Earlier, I've lost my list again. It's a bit confusing tonight. Who was up next? Jimmy's not reading. Annalisa, you're next. Beady Bard.
Hello. Finn, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, okay. I've got a short one for Remembrance Day. This is a photo I took a few years ago in the Remembrance Garden in the town where I live. All of these crosses were planted by children from primary schools. Each child planted one cross, and families quite often would write members of their family who'd been in the forces on the crosses. So this is for Remembrance Day. Amidst the pageantry and spectacle I watch you. Music plays and crowds clap hands with ripples of small thunderclaps. But while their eyes are on the monuments carved into the bodies of cold stone, warmed by the splashes of blood amidst green wreaths, laid by the great men and women who shape our world, my eyes are on yours, the great men who shaped our world, laden down with the weight of medals, thick woolen blankets and memories, and the collective loss they feel palpable. And each year with sadness, I note their ranks diminish, as the many who gave their lives collect them home one by one, to reunite them in the splendour they deserve. And my mind wanders to the future, as the few become the one, then disappear forever from our world. What then will remind us of sacrifice, bravery, and a willing to defend the freedom and love of family with your own body and blood, now only visible as red poppy splashes on slowly fading green wreaths? Who then will serve as a visible teacher on the lessons of the horror and atrocity of the world at war, never to be repeated? I fear in time such things will ebb away and we will forget, and in the forgetting, repeat. Thank you. And this is one called Please Don't Cry. Please don't cry, my baby. Please don't cry, my love. I cannot bear to see the hurt in your eyes. They're beautiful green and amber muted while I only ever wanted them to shine in joy. Betrayed now by the tears they've kept inside, that had never yet had to fall, but which wash over them now, like rain over a high mountain place. Pooling over precious gems of green and gold, they pause for a moment, then begin to slowly trickle down, a stream springing from its origin that travels in tracks down the cheeks that I only ever hoped to see lifting in that radiant smile, the one that makes the very sun, moon, and stars shine brighter in my sky. When your cheeks lift and the smile reaches those beautiful eyes, and they reflect the soft light of your joy. But now they do not lift. Instead, they look pale, a faded landscape tracked with pathways of sadness. The tears that catch the light and trap it inside your broken heart, until the sun seems dim and the stars grieve instead when they see their brightest creation is hurting. Please don't cry, my baby. Please don't cry, my love. My darling child, I only ever wanted to protect you. I held you for the first time in my arms and lightning crackled over us, around us, through us. Thunderclaps sounded for you and I alone this morning. And I knew then that I would never let you go, that my world had changed in both joy and the fear that I would one day have to have my heart leave my home and wander the world without me holding it close. That I only ever wanted to wrap you up in my arms again, hold you close to me so your jigsaw edges interlinked with mine, because you were made to complete my picture. And I would that I could allow you to never feel the pain of the world's reality, never allow you to feel the torment I felt inside my mind, my heart and my soul, a war I still fight daily as I bring myself to bear for you to see the best of me. And to see you cry tears that sing my damaged soul means I failed at being able to do that one thing that I've always fought for, that I've returned from the dark for, to keep you from it. For then I found my way back to you, even when I was trapped in blackest night. Please don't cry, my baby. Please don't cry, my love. I fought so hard, I fought for so long, and the places I have been are black and terrifying, filled with storm clouds and shadows. My spirit was broken on the wheel of mental illness by shades and demons you could not imagine, the ones I would kill to never allow them to reach you. But you saved my life. You save my life every day by the sheer act of just being you, my light in the darkness, the colour to my black. You show me the way out till I follow your star whenever I'm lost. Every day I have to fight the demons who whisper to me in lies, feeding me their bile and poisoned spite, darkly muttering in my ear, howling in my mind that I betrayed you today. I swear to you, I never wanted you to see my darkness, to glimpse the black place and the pain and anger I carry as a heavy burden on my back, even when I travel in the light. I didn't want you to see my hurt, and it wounds me to the centre of my being, knowing that you had to hear my hurt, to feel it, to see it, and all from the words I speak that tell you of my broken past. I fell from a high place today. My shell cracked, and you saw the stitches that pieced together my patchwork spirit. I didn't mean to cause you pain, and now the look in your eyes now breaks me. So please don't cry, my baby. Please don't cry, my love. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what a night of emotion with the poetry tonight. It's just, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Moving over, Mr. Gary H.
Oh, what a night. Late November 2021. First of all, guys, just give me, before we all go to our beds and think, oh, I've got to go now, I've got early start, can you just give Finn a massive huge round of applause? He's not just a poet, he's not just a but to me, he's a great friend. And it's great. And there's something special about tonight. Like the people who know me, I'm not even bothered what rubbish I'm about to come out with, but it's that you are friends, and those people I've never met before, you may be poets, but give it a week or two, you'll be knocking my door for friends. And I'll give you 5 minutes to write all your comments about how good I am. You can start writing awesome, lots of C's, oh wow, how emotional. Yes, well done, Cynthia. I'm still waiting to hear about the end of your book. I haven't seen that, so this is, it's a long time since I've done Zoom. I've been doing all sorts of things, watching people's legs. But I didn't know what tonight's theme was, but I thought tonight would have been about the difficult subject. We've heard his words, we've been enticed, we've been immense by his appearance, Michael Sindler, but he has recently coming out of being incarcerated. He has been shackled. He has been silenced by the corporate nation. So I call this, Michael Sindler, who's my mum's favourite poet, not me. 10 months ago, Michael Sindler at 2 o'clock in the morning sang happy birthday to my mum. And now she goes, oh, I like that, Michael. Not even seen me ever perform, but and other night, as we put, she goes, oh, is that Michael's film on? Schindler's List on? Oh, so she thought all about. Anyway, this is called SOS, Save Our Sindler. Because this is a story of woe. Triumph over adversity, a story of one man's struggle. We can all know what it's like to be a little man with a big heart who takes on a corporate giant for what is right. This person, just like Nelson Mandela, Che Guevara, and Lady Guevara, Kelly, stay now for 5 more minutes. As I said, just like Nelson Mandela, Che Guevara, and Lady Guevara. It's a long walk home to freedom has begun for the Sindler one. He's looking into the side mirrors of his life, signal maneuver, with the devastation, the turmoil, the injustice, the criminality, the unprecedented strife behind him, where doves don't fly. Michael Sindler has paid for the sins of our ancestor. It is not the time to repent for the discourse he has caused. It is time to raise a hallelujah to the Sindler one. Hallelujah. Old poets raise a glass to Zungerbugger lies and shackled to his arse. Michael Sindler, the Sindler one, emancipate us from Facebook. Tyranny, let us free us from our mind, as we have no fear of atomic energy. In order to make this a balanced report, one must give you what Fox News have stated about this man. Fox News has stated that this hostage attributed to the man known as the Sindler One took on the social network pipsqueak called Zuckerberg. He fought the law, and well, the verdict has gone to VAR. A trusted source has reported that Michael was in court incarcerated wearing a crown of pencils and biros. As the Sindler approached the gallows, he had a cross to bear with Zuckerberg, pressing in his thumbs with unlike. No emojis could save our son Sindler, but still, despite the crowd of taunts, the Sindler One could be heard. Forgive them, they do not know what they do. Days later, as poets continue to turn to tag others on Facebook, a passing Greece of Thunberg went to his tomb and witnessed the rising of the Messiah, Sindler. He is alive, reincarnated, hallelujah, from now on. Yes, from now on, November the 6th, or the 7th, depending which time zone you are in, will be known as Sindler's Day. Today will be Sindler's Pissed, celebrating with whiskey and apple crumble. I cannot deny, even with a great Messiah, Michael Sindler here, this time, this world is in need. I've been to Glasgow, fracking hell. Call me a racist, say it louder, I hate green people. I'm not talking about the Jolly Green Giant or anyone who's protecting the planet even. I'm starting with Sir Philip Fat Bastard Green, the purveyor of everything that is obscene. Yes, you nod, you heard and shout. After me, hashtag me too. Hashtag me too. I hear Topshop and DRP are having a closing down sale on Miscreant. As you can buy a racist and bigot bully on special offer and buy one, get one free. So Pete Green, you're just like that Harvey Weinstein. You can do one too. Because when I ain't fracking politically correct, I hate green people. I do. Whether they come from the Mars or Venus, this includes all those little urchins from the Wizard of Oz. The Jolly Green Giant can stuff all this corn. Frankly, I don't give a mushy pie if his whole church are torn. I hate green people. They come over here, they drink our cars beer big and take all of the atmosphere. Who they think they are? Doing the jobs that no one else wants to do. They sleep with that woman. Yes. The rumours about their genitals is true. They're green. They play on our footy teams just because they're green. They're better than us. It must be in their greens. Ooh. I can eat cake thinking, all mine. I know it ain't politically correct. And what the fracking heck? I hate green people. Have some respect. They're scroungers. We can't afford their benefits. There's 3 of our schools in Oxford. Even Superman with his trousers over his pants wants to get rid of the kryptonite men. From Green Day to Green Sleeves to Green Onion. Then there was Green Street, Green Finger Jealousy. Our culture has been affected by them, and as for the Green Mile, the lunatics have taken over the asylum. The worst will come. It's not COVID-19, it's bird flu. It's bird flu. It's threat of fungi infection. I want I want, I desire, I demand that climate change skeptics, green skeptics, to be upcycled and put in the green wheelie bin and be recycled as hay, buried on a landslide far, far, far away. All of you, eat your greens, take part in some ethnic cleansing, eradicate the little green men, and really wash your veg. Round them up, keep them locked up or counted, and send the little green urchins to Guantanamo Bay. What the heck? It's fucking right. So for you green people, don't worry. In the words of the Yorkshire cricket, it's only green banter. So get some camouflage. I find this very emotional. Such words tonight have got me all in a turmoil. Because at the moment, I must confess, I'm just being plant-based lazy. Not like a jolly green giant going, ho, 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 watching the sweet corn come out my room, out my rear, whole as poo. Even if all, I'm just being ignorant and full of self-denial. Even if all I do is to let Mr. Attenborough retire. So I don't have to die to the bottom of the sea just to show me a bottle top and Finding Nemo is wrapped around the Ford Escort tyre. So I went to my doctor. It's not hard for a man to go to the doctor and to tell him what's really happened to me. I stand up here and I confess, doctor, I have a plastic addiction. Yes, I am addicted to plastic. As a glass of water in a refillable cup. I told him about my affliction. Dear GP, please help me. I want help, counselling, or some form of medication. Please help me and stop me from ruining God's wonderful creation. I drink out of plastic bottles, I eat out of plastic trays, I snort, I suck out of straws. And when I go to all I eat, I have a plastic tray in my takeaways. My carbon footprint is inside my green bin in preparation for upcycling. I just want to be green. I'm addicted to plastic. I have an addiction. I'm lazy. Get the multitude of plastic shopping bags out of my car boot just to save 10p. I go to the sales assistant. I would like a bag. What am I like? A typical bloke. Please forgive me. I just want to be green. I have a plastic addiction. I'm addicted to plastic. I have a fixation. Let me tell you, so you really understand me. I love the Arctic Pole, but I'd rather drive to Mummy's in my diesel car to Iceland and buy an Arctic roll. I love God's creation. I wear big, large, green condoms to hold the birth of a nation, but I'm quite happy to blow up a balloon and leave it the landfill for 300 years isolation. I just want to be green. I have a plastic addiction. Please help the world before the world comes to extinction, before Black Beauty becomes obese and ugly, before the birds sing like Justin Bieber and the dogs woof, just cough and splutter. Please, doctor, cure me from my plastic. I just want to be green. I've Googled my symptoms and this is my diagnosis. I noticed in the bath that I am black. That's why I'm scared of anything that starts with COP 26. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Mr. Edge. Thank you very much indeed. Plastic addiction, indeed. Thank you. All right. Welcome back now. We're moving on. We'll get down the list. It's getting late. A lot of tired faces, but welcome back, Dick. he's gone. Okay. What a shame. Okay, we'll keep that first bit. Welcome back, Ricky Frost.
Sorry, 1 second. I've misplaced my phone. Sorry. Hello, sorry about that.
All right, mate.
Can you hear me okay?
Well, I can, yeah.
I do apologise for that. This one's called Paper Hearts. Imagine if love was like origami art, if our hearts were made of paper. When we grieve, we would bleed from the sleeves of our arteries, and breakups would cause a crease. Some get it right on the first try, and others it takes a while. But perseverance does pay off in love and art and origami hearts. And I've got another new one. Some of you may have heard it already. I've had the opportunity to read it a couple of times lately. Little factoid, Japanese for karaoke means empty orchestra, and that's the title of this poem. Waiting patiently in a room with nothing but silence between you and I, my Spotify is tongue-tied and my battery is low. I don't know if I mean my phone or me, but luckily I have a jukebox buried in my brain, and it is always playing. I see you twitching in your seat, feet kicking to a beat, so forgive me for staring at your headphones blaring, but I can't help wondering what you're listening to. You remind me of a CD from '93. I bet you mutter lyrics in your sleep. I bet you've got kernels of corny pop songs trapped between your teeth. Air guitars, they're a thing of the past. I've got drumstick fingertips. I've got violin strings sewn into my skin and a mosh pit mouth that cannot sing. I know a tune to suit any room, but I cannot choose the mood the music exudes because there's a metaphoric phonetic funicular threading through my throat, needlessly knotting, unnaturally tangling every note. You see, to me, social anxiety, it's a melody on repeat. It's the beat in a restless leg kicking, a Walkman skipping, a clockwork carnival ticking. It's the echo of a metronome, a slow crescendo in my blood flow. It's singing to the radio only to forget how the song goes. Because for the longest time, I've been using music as a parachute, for in silence, I feel as though I'm falling. Silence is a cautious coward, but a coward all the same. It is a sonata of everything we do not say, celebrating the space between strangers. And although conversation can come slow, silence is still the most broken thing I know. I frequently feel exposed without my headphones, so I just want to know what you're listening to. Now, I might be wrong, but I think we've been humming the same song, strumming the same riff. Do you too feel like a flight risk? I want to hear what song still brings you to tears, which album you turn to when your world falls apart. Bring me your scars, bring me your bruises, show me your heart by sharing your music. We could form an empty orchestra, a band of bystanders. May we never need to land. May our batteries withstand. May we never need to say a word. Thank you very much.
Woo! Thank you, Ricky. Good to have you back, man. In a while. Thank you. Wonderful stuff. Thank you very much indeed. And oh, Christopher George, you're next.
Going to do the share screen. I might mention, I know that Gary Hoskinson is a Chelsea supporter. It's a little bit late joining you because I was at a bar in Wilmington, Delaware, full of Liverpool supporters. Probably Gary's worst nightmare.
Did you lose today? Did you lose today?
I'm afraid we did, but it was a very narrow thing.
That's fine, Mummy. That's fine. Talk away. Love your work.
All right, mate. Okay.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Let me see if I can find the right thing. Can't see it. I had 4 poems in Lochraven Review, and I'm going to give you a couple of them. I'll put the link in the chat. This one's called Schadenfreude Afternoon for James Arthur and Haley Lighthouser. It just isn't right, composing in his head while hiking, publishing in poetry, The New Yorker, at his tender age, reciting his gorilla masked poem with a beatific smile, Fuck You, with a waterfront view, and the view from the upstairs art gallery, where the featured poets read their works, rank on rank of row houses, rolling down to the Baltimore Harbor, the Camden Yards, the Bromo Tower, oh, the Baltimore, oh, the cramped garret where Poe wrote, but no more, no more. I could only hurry to try to catch up, older poet stumbling over the carefully typed words of my World War I Bosque Pur poem. But he nods to me kindly when he references that carnage in his Back in the Day poem. Young poet with a serene smile, his poet mask on, eluding the thoughts of suicide, hooves in the Rubicon. Back in 2006, there was a terrorist explosion that killed a 12-year-old girl named Shema Ozcan, and I wrote a short poem about it. And later on, I heard from her older sister who thanked me for writing the poem, and she made the point that she was amazed that somebody so far away was touched by the story and moved to write such a poem. To Shema Ozcan, at the explosion, she rushed to survey the havoc, craned from the balcony, despite her father's warning. The next blast shot shrapnel through her heart. A balcony should be for dreaming of sunsets, fountains and gardens, and a young man who brings a gift of fragrant fruit in the morning sun. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Wonderful again. Thank you very much. Thanks for hanging around as well. Thank you. Okay, this is the welcome back period now. So welcome back, Cynthia.
Hi, thank you. It's been a while. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I have a few. Let's see, this is When the Stars Shift, and it was written yesterday. Since about a year ago, October of 2020, indeed my spiritual birthday matches that of my late husband's corporeal birthday here on Earth. Since about a year ago, I have been living a charmed life. By living into the light. What's her name? Lucia, if you're still here, pay attention. She mentioned light. Okay. By living into the light, practicing the teachings of Sukyo Mahikari, raising my hand and giving light to others, which, by the way, is always free. You cannot use that word in emails where they throw you into spam. But indeed, the divine light is free. We are not allowed to charge. If you want to feed me when I happen by, I might not refuse, but light sessions last anywhere from 7 to 10 or up to 40 to 50 minutes. You may not notice any change immediately, but after I got my spiritual amulet, my Omitama, my book was scheduled to have a staged reading in LA within like a week after that. And last week, get this, I walked away from a brand new $1,500 computer in the Denver airport. I had like 3 beers, walked away from it, and it will be back to me here on Tuesday for less than $32. So I call that the light. Moving into the light brings a level of flow that is unmatched anywhere. This week I have completed proof pages in 2 different books, 1 book on time, 1 book one time, 1 book twice. Living like this moves me creatively forward. Okay, the poem is over and here's a little piece after it. If this interests you, reach out to me in the chat. Tell me where on the planet you are, as in the city and state, and your best email. And I can see what I can do about finding a light giver who's close to you, who can provide you this free divine light. Honestly, to go to a ceremony, I have to drive 5 to 6 hours one way each month, but I know people who've been doing that for 30 years and they swear by it because it changes their life. So try it. Let me tell you about a research study where you can watch, where I did it for 10 sessions, and 9 of the 10 sessions I had improvement. And after that, I went and signed up and got my Omitama because it's cheap. Okay, what was the next one I wanted to read? Searching in the Shadows. Where did it go? Poetry. Poetry. Searching in the Shadows. Let me find it. I don't know when I wrote it. Ha, here we go. Okay, this was October 11th. Searching in the shadows, sitting on the porch as deep thunder rumbles distantly and lightning flashes just over the ridgeline, sometimes just in sheets of lightning, and then in great jagged streaks, splitting the sky in two. What power! What is happening as the sea of air and wind circles above and around me? Will I be pulled elsewhere in time? The air is charged with electricity and the fields are lit with hordes of fireflies. Anything is possible. In a nearby tree limb, an owl hoots a benediction as I am swept along a current of air into this newly created realm. Looking down upon the twinkling fireflies, I'm reminded, yes, anything is possible, especially when riding in a creator-designed world. Hallelujah. And then, I think I'm okay on time. I forget who was reading what, but I decided on this one. This is from Sovereign Souls, Whosoever edition, which will be hopefully published by Balboa Press next month. Chapter 19, Imagine a World Immensely and Beautifully Queer, Harmonious Chapter 3. Oh, Holy Mother, there is a God. I freaking got the job. Uptown Fashion hired me as a sales girl. Uncle Pete would say, that horse was lucky right out of the gate. Well, crack that crop and call me Black Caviar because the boys are going down. The hiring manager, Gerald, uses they, them pronouns, and they identifies as genderqueer. Not to sound like Aunt Stella, but that language just sounds queer to my ear. They above is singular, making they identifies grammatically correct and definitely proving God exists. Finding a hiring manager who opened the conversation with their pronouns told me I was on the same track as that Australian filly, ready to be seen as the girl that I am. No need to be turning the sound down. No need to hide my identity behind that ugly gate imposed by society and family, that nasty gate that insists unless I go by my parent gifted name of Jeremiah, that I must be queer and somehow unacceptable. Today, that idea is going down. Prayerfully, it will stay buried. For as God knows fully, I am now and have always been a girl. Call me Harmonia, sing my name. My pronouns are she, her, hers. These are such simple pronouns to use if you want to befriend me. Open the gate to my heart by seeing me as the beautiful girl I was born to be. Sure, I don't mind identifying as queer, but mostly I just want to be seen as me, God, because those who read me as male, they bring me down. parents and teachers only seeing Jeremiah. I am not down with that. They have such blind eyes. I know their little minds can't handle the flexibility of appropriate pronouns. I feel sad for their myopic worldviews, God, for they have made themselves blind. They refuse to see beyond the gates of their limited realities and imagine a world that's immensely and beautifully queer. But that, dear, sweet Gerald, they bred me as a girl from the moment I walked in, and not just any girl, but one pretty enough and smart enough to be entrusted to learn the lowdown of this job, to manage merchandising, to learn to upsell all those little extras that none of us ever need, and the queer details of retail. Okay, so maybe I'm already a savvy consumer and aware, but I appreciate a workplace where pronouns are flexible. And to imagine I found this right out of the gate. All that conversion therapy, while it could have turned me off to God, it really just turned me off to those who turn their hearing aids down to 0 when they hear pronouns, because in their religion, no girl can have a penis, and they stand firmly rooted behind their gates of denial. But I still believe, because she is me and this world is wonderfully queer when one's eyes are opened. Thank you, God. Thank you. I have one more short one that I actually wrote this evening. Do I have time?
Yeah.
Okay. Who we are today. I forget who was reading it. Who was reading but anyways, if it sounds like it resonates with what you were reading, then you inspired this. We are ever-changing, muddy beings, born innocent, quickly dirtied. Ancestors watch over us, yet we often forget them, forget to acknowledge them, forget to feed them on their altar. Who wants to know us today? Will those be the same persons tomorrow? People reach out, ask us to become completely vulnerable, then ghost us for all sorts of reasons. Because we asked for too much, texted too often, brought a cane to a date, wanted dinner before anything else. For so many reasons, often unknown, people disappear. Thank you, God, for disappearing those I really do not need to meet. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Finn. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming back. Thank you. You can tell Kizzy she's wrong. You did get to read. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We're getting down there. We're getting on this marathon. It's almost done. Would you please welcome back Nick?
Is that me?
That's you. Yeah.
Hey.
It's in the chat.
Hey, Finn. Congratulations. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good,
Fine.
good. Congrats on the birth of Willow, or the imminent birth of Willow. Oh,
Yep.
But 9 months of waiting. God, she'll enjoy doing gigs for you.
It's just one more bloody Christmas present to buy.
Yes, exactly. But no. I mean, a kid that waits for 9 months, she'll do really well on your gigs when she grows up. I'm not complaining. This has been absolutely bloody great. I've so enjoyed listening to everybody. Really, really good. Okay, I've got 3 poems. They're short. 2 are from a book that I'm working on called Talking to Myself. This is the first of them. It's about the tail end of the latest of our ongoing lockdowns. There'll be more. It's called A Bit More About Mental Health. It's midnight. Oh, sorry. This is a true story as well. It's midnight and strange. Your neighbors are screaming. They're like kettles boiling, whistling and steaming, burning the offcuts of lifestyles they're memeing. Call round, they're all smiles. Soon you're all beaming. A fire is burning, Faces are gleaming. Near to the surface, though, scum still needs creaming. Sometimes it seems your surroundings are scheming, caught like a tune that your freak film is theming. This is the unreal you're constantly streaming. So maybe you're sleeping, maybe you're dreaming, maybe life's merely bad debts you're redeeming. Nothing turns out to be quite how it's seeming. You're burning offcuts of lifestyles you're memeing. Your kettle is boiling, whistling and steaming. It's midnight and strange. It's just you who's been screaming. Here's a poem called The Glass Slipper. It's about our government and Cop Out 26 that's going on in Glasgow now. I wrote it today. The Glass Slipper. The title will become obvious by the end. The great weight of honesty gets right on the tits of public school and Oxbridge educated Brits who've been taught to treat the truth like it's the pure pits. Just as global warming was becoming this blitz, petrochemical companies bought these Egypts. Gas and coal and oil came to own those posh gits. Yet we're the fools who've elected these very shits, who claim to care though they tear planet Earth to bits. Whom to blame? Them or us? Let's check whose foot it fits. The glass slipper. And the last one from this book of mine, which came out at the start of the pandemic, so I've sold virtually no copies. It's called Voices in My Head. This is Today My Mother Dies, which was actually written on the day my mother died, about 2 years ago. House left bare, this theft entire. Cut the current in the wire. Quell the riot, hush the choir. Watch my maker thus expire. Cancer and her age conspire to deflate her like a tire. All is swallowed in this mire. Panic making her perspire. What more must this time require? Symptoms steal her whole empire. Wisdom, passion, wit and fire. Body losing occupier. See her weaken, see her tire. See her pass beyond desire. Process cruel, so slow it's dire. Sod you, God of mercy, liar. I'm done.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Ian. On you go, sir.
Hello, Finn. Firstly, congratulations on the soon-to-be new addition to the family. That's brilliant news. Okie dokie. I changed tack tonight, keeping with the theme called Beat. This is something about when I was in my 20s, old enough to know better. It's about my love of dance music and rave back at the time, and also when I met a former love. I guess all poets need to have something about love in there. Okay, here we go. Bodies rhythmically moving, disjointed by strobes, with faces lost in blissful chemical connection. People rejoice in the pleasure of the moment as the bass pumps its sinful, seductive perfection. Bodies come together, grinding in harmony as the sweat mingles while hearts flutter and torsos tingle. It's dirty techno fused with a dash of electro, bouncing bass lines echo as strobes drown the walled art deco. For tonight we are kings and queens, it's glitter, frilly shirts, short skirts and images from the style magazines. Gay, straight, black, white, for we all unite, for here is our dreamland, the dance floor is our one sacred holy land. The alchemist is standing, my mind's distorted but expanding, yes, tomorrow will be a hard landing. Tomorrow is irrelevant, all responsibilities are discarded, for tonight's trip is uncharted. The alchemist, his hands blaze across the dials, looking around, I'm surrounded by 1,000 smiles. Deep underground, we are all freaks, dancing in our ecstasy playgrounds, fists are bumping as the bass keeps thumping. Spying her smoky outline, her eyes flick over with a playful sigh as her body sinks to the bass line. She has the grace of a panther, stepping from the cover of Vanity Fair. We smile, then I swallow her stare. Dove meets brain as we sink in chemical connection while our lips lock in seductive provocation. Our bodies link as our minds mesh. I'm chemically elated, my neural pathways walk to get illuminated. At this moment from now, we need each other, passion arising like sense slow sexual harmonizing. Our eyes like with Molly's, we swap whispers, her accent as smooth as a siren, yet elegantly foreign. Acid house, all beats with visual distortions, our tribe sucked to the brink of hedonistic proportions. We leave with dopamine depleted, tripping our magic journey with rebellious and undefeated. Laughing at those with dogs and Sunday papers, we'll trade them for a night of raving in dirty trainers. That's that one, thank you. And the second one is about student riots. These are back in 2010, so it's a political one here. Yeah, and the poem's really a timeline of the events that led up to it, really. Students, weary ears now attuned to the latest political justification, while vocalising desires for the privilege of an affordable education, yet shunned by Whitehall with weights of debt not seen in their parents' generation. Society shouts, study hard, gain a degree to be economically viable. Can they seize it from 2 decades of broken promises with false assurances, enticing those keen to learn with bloated budgets, free laptops and cash allowances, from inside grandiose doors of educational institutions with proud libraries? Higher education will stay accessible with tuition fees met by the state, shouted Labour as they rode their wave of optimism in '97. Yet cynicism arisen from a reverse decision once they won the election. Time then gifted severed millennial promises to halt fees with legislation. Then with another election won, they dashed their pact with the young. Young voices dejected yet economically expendable as study fees trebled. Time then gifted soothing soundbites to young ears from the coalition of 2010. Merrily morphals promises to remove their weight of debt, they trebled fees again. Born by words of financial necessity by the Conservatives bound with Lib Dem. From years of Parliament's echoes, from debated discussions that changed direction. The destination lit the trail as thousands marched from London streets. The calm rally mobilised with keen voices against Whitehall's austerities. as the crowd contaminates with a storm of opposing priorities against a tidal of raised batons, burnt banners and damaged properties. The demonstration dies as crowds disperse as an eerie quietness descends, punctuated by the shriek of ambulances as casualties are quietly loaded, with bodies heavily broken between battle lines of the idealisms and jurisdictions, as chaotic visuals are hungrily captured, then thrown to thirsty televisions, with dispirited words thrown at failed negotiations, defended with inflated expectations. The sad reflection hangs as the wounded are taken away. Was there another way? That's it, Finn. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure this evening listening to your cheers.
Thank you, Ian. I love hearing your work. You get better every time I hear you, so wonderful stuff. Thank you. Okay, sorry to keep you waiting. A man in his new flat, I believe, Mr. Clive Osmond. No,
Hello.
not yet.
No, not yet. Not till tomorrow.
Ah, well, okay. The last time in this flat, we'll see him then.
Yeah. Right. Okay. This is new. I was going to do it at York Spoken Word on Tuesday until the lurgy got me and I couldn't do it. So, and some of you, looking round you, some of you will have heard my poem where I changed the letters P and F round so that every F becomes a P and every P becomes an F. Well, this is the same principle, but with the letters B and D. Unfortunately, it's difficult to do. And because I've had virtually no voice all week, I haven't practiced it. So I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to go for it anyway. So yeah, it's changing all B's into D's and all D's into B's, and it's called Buddle Truddle. Hello, you know me as Clive Osman, but my real name is Big Bastardly Osman. I think my parents were absolute dastards calling me that. But it could have been worse. Have they been fans of the Hoddit? I may have been Dildo Daggins. Being Big Bastardly was dabbing off. But I would have spent my life sodding uncontrolledly had I been a dildo. If they liked, oh no, that was wrong. If they like licorice all sorts, I could be Dirty Dassit. Dilly Dunter would have been another possibility. My parents live in a bungalow now, but they never have much upstairs, if you ask me. Yada bada boo, as Freb said. Obviously, being saddled with a stupid name because my parents were bumfucks has had a detrimental effect on my life. My daughter calls me Bab, and I never could watch Ken Bob and his Bibby Men. But what sympathy do I get? Bibbly squat. They even made me read the Diddle when I was a kid. All that stuff about Gob, Jesus and his 12 dicicles. That Jubus was a right bick, wasn't he? For company, I rely on a pet bog. I wanted a backshum. Does end it? I can't do this. Does end it up with a pooble. As I wrote this, I was listening to music. Dark, Beethoven, David Bowie, Duster Rhymes. I refuse to listen to Dirt Dacarac. I like Drams Third Racket, as Dazzle Faulty called it. It's been a beautiful day, but now there is some brizzle in the air. I was watching some old movies yesterday. Ghost Dusters, the Bam Dusters, Monty Python's Life of Brian, Dram Stoker's Dracula. And it struck me that so many of the stars are no longer with us. They are drowned red or Beb as a Bobo. I was driving in Liverpool a few days ago and saw Virgil van Dijk. I caught him on my bash cam. His dike looked more like a Dentley to me. I'm throwing a party at New Year. Drink your own dottle. I'm inviting famous people, including Doris Johnson, J. Cotter Rees-Mogg, Bayan Adat, and 2 former US presidents, Barack Obama and George W. Bush. You may think it was difficult to get them, but it was an absolute bubble. As a donut, Prince Andrew as Bona runner and will not be attending. So you can drink your kids. Or kids even. Thank you very much. I'll practice it for next time.
You've got to have a room to work it out faster. There you go. That was bloody brilliant. As I say, thank you. Right, this last person seemed to just disappeared off the screen before he was due to come on. So I'm actually going to take his place before the wonderful Greg Slade comes in, who's come in to close the show tonight. And this is a piece about, I try to remember it for the first time in 50 years, and I haven't been able, I've only got half of it down back. It's supposed to be done for Wednesday. And it's a short piece about a long line. And it's very apt tonight since we have another member of my family tree coming online. It's called Just a Northeast Loon. I'm not my mum's chum. She was long gone when I came along. My mum's mum was strict and dour. How strict, I can't be sure. As I said, she died before I arrived. My mum's dad I never knew either, but he was a Christian, therefore a believer, a minister turned bad. He shot a joiner from cults, poor lad. Was his second offence. Next, we find out he's in Sri Lanka, where one of his sons was attacked by a lama, the religious kind. Karma. Move over to my father's tree. There are 3 generations below me, and my dad's mum's dad has a very long line, going all the way back to a 3-digit time. My dad was called Billy, his mother was Nellie, deaf as a post and small as a jelly, and just as nice. Her father looked like Gary Lineker, but his given name was John, and when my dad was born, John too had long gone. Preceding him was another John, then Alexander, Jane, Isabel, William, Arthur, Lucretia, really. John, again, a different one this time, obviously. James, then count them, 6 Alexanders, fathers and sons, Alexander, Edward, Robert, and William. Edward, William, that is not one person. John, another. Hervins, yeah, Hervins. He was from Belgium. Does me like get a European passport? Probably not. Ada, no, I'm not hesitating. It's mother and daughter. Then, sorry to keep you waiting. Simon, first Fraser in Scotland. Gilbert, Margaret, and Walter. Before him was Alan. His dad name was Banco. His mother, though, was Maldivana, Virch, fetus of Athol, whatever that means. Born at the start of the millennium. But I digress. So Kenneth after Fergad, whose wife was from Norway, Murdoch then Doyle, who married a Northumberland princess. Getting closer to the end, you see, or the beginning of my family tree, with A-D spelt A-E-D, whose father was Kenneth MacAlpin, first king of the Scots. And that is nearly the lot, for he, the king in Iona lies, dead since 0859. His father Alpin lived either until 96 or 53. Depends on which record you see. But top of the tree is Jochich, poisonous, Pictish king of Kintyre. He's my 40th great-granddad from Fordon in Aberdeenshire. A generation number 46 in my line, a northeast loon like me and my kind. Now this is all true, by the way, that is my generation. And when I do it, I've got a big family tree to unroll all the way along. So anyway, thank you. And we bring on to our last one as last reader tonight is Greg Slade.
Oh, that was wonderful, Finn. Very cool. It's called Turn the Battle Inward in Defense of the Truth. Being good and evil has to do with whether you have hurt more than you have healed. Good and evil being seeming to be hurting and healing you. Pattern lost of truth abandoned for the need for the truth to be not healed, but only to be excused. Until statements of faith are met mainly with disbelief, blood runs in the streets of fools. Until being faithless is seen as the key to avoiding our own abuse. Expanding our aperture for truth can be painful, but to close it surely too will lead to our doom. The truth hurts, they say. You don't say. If you're wondering how truth comes to speak, this is what I myself have heard it say. The truth is we should be at peace. The truth would not seek to make us afraid. I have heard how truth sounds